Well, welcome, everybody, to Less Than
Wait,
or
are we
Sequel
starting
to.
now?
Yeah, no, wait. Yes. Welcome to Less Than or Sequel to. I'm one of your hosts, Kevin Hardison. I'm joined, as always, by designer of fine ladies' hats, Chris Brewer.
Hello.
And noted
I
Robert.
don't want my family to know about this. It's just Jim. Yeah.
And then we also have Jim, whose true Christian name is James Cain.
Yep.
And today we're
That's
here.
cold.
We're talking about a sequel that I think might not be that bad, but it might be the most disappointing sequel, and that is Ghostbusters 2.
I love it.
Do you love Ghostbusters 2?
I do.
Oh my god.
It's bad though. I mean, it's terrible.
It just kind of goes off the rails. Like,
Oh,
it
yeah.
starts pretty well, and then, yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I think it's obvious that there's like maybe 60 or 50 minutes of a movie, and then they realize, well, wait, a feature-length film has got to be like 90 plus minutes, and then they kind of cobble together something else. But
Yeah, I read that they had some test audiences and they didn't really know what was going on. Like the connection between the different elements of the movie wasn't there, so they had to reshoot all these scenes to connect everything.
So I think before we get into Ghostbusters 2, we should start from the start and go with Ghostbusters 1, just like a quick touch a few bases on the original, which is, Chris, I think we mentioned in episode 00 that you and I have probably seen Ghostbusters more times than we can watch any other movie for the rest of our lives.
Yeah, at this point, there's not enough time left in my life for it.
I know I'm in the triple digits in the numbers of views that I've had.
That's absurd.
James,
I'm definitely in the triple digits. There was a time, several years, where I would watch it almost every day.
me too. James, how many times have you seen it?
From start to finish?
Yep.
Probably like a hefty one.
Really?
Ooh, and when was this?
This was this week.
Was
Yeah.
this just for this podcast?
It was, yeah. I had nothing against it. I just have never gotten around to it.
That is fucking mind-boggling.
Yeah.
I don't even know how that...
Didn't your wife also give you guff for that?
Yeah, she did. Well, I think it's kind of a generation thing. I mean, you guys were there, more in the 80s, so I think you had more exposure to it, or you were like the perfect age for the cartoons, so you sought out the movies.
Well, it's hard
And
to
we
go. It was hard to go anywhere because all of our cars had stone wheels on them. So
Yeah. No, I mean, just like, just by 5 years, I mean, a lot of stuff changes.
Are you 5 years younger than me?
Well, I'm 10 years younger than Chris.
I'm 10 years younger than Chris.
Yeah. I mean, you're... No, I'm 26 and you're going to hit 30 this year.
I'm going to hit 31.
Oh, geez, yeah. So 5 years.
Oh, shit. All right. Well,
And then,
Just for the record, I am not 36 years old.
not yet.
Not yet. I
Yeah.
hope to be.
I mean, if you round down, you would be, yeah. And then just my wife's parents and my parents are at different age ranges, so... And that's also when you couldn't smoke in theaters, so my dad wasn't going to see any movies.
My dad also rarely took me to films for the exact same reason.
I know when we were discussing that, it was a real shared bonding experience.
I remember my dad actually took me to see Ghostbusters 2 in 1989 as a 5-year-old. I also remember him taking me to see Jurassic Park twice out of the 5 times I saw it in the theater. And then the last movie he took me to see was the Mystery Science Theater 3000 film. That was the last time he ever went. He couldn't smoke, and he couldn't listen to people eat popcorn. It would drive him bonkers. So not a lot of
Fair
movies
enough.
with me and my dad.
I mean, my dad likes and has recommended great movies. It's just he's not going to go and not be able to smoke in a theater.
Well, it's for video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with Ghostbusters 1, obviously it's probably one of the biggest examples of like a lightning in the bottle movie, like a movie that on paper shouldn't be as good as it is. When you think of like, it's a movie about huckster scientists who catch ghosts.
Sure.
Like I said, it's a weird premise, but everything works in it. It's a near perfect movie in terms of like having a fun movie experience, I think. You got Bill Murray at like the height of his powers, Harold Ramis and Ivan Reitman behind the scenes. You got Aykroyd before the the Crystal Skull vodka, whatever the fuck that is. So like he's just enough wacky Aykroyd that's been tampered by actually talented people like Ramis and Ivan Reitman.
And and Ramis credits this with like, I think he's with his sort of acting career he had, he's like, it started because of Ghostbusters.
Yeah. So then, as this movie so aptly
and don't forget about Winston, like most of the movie does.
Oh yeah, I mean, as far as all of the actors that are in that movie that will always be their original movie for me. Even though, I've seen lots of movies that they were in that are also great movies that came out before Ghostbusters, but it's still going to be Ghostbusters always. Like Harold Ramis is always Egon. Even Ernie Hudson is always going to be Winston.
I don't know. He's always that guy from Congo for me. I think
Although
that's his
maybe I
definitive
shouldn't
role.
say even because I mean Ernie Hudson. That Winston is obviously his best role. What else has that guy done?
He's in Oz.
If you look him up on IMDb, he has done an episode of every show you can think of.
He has. He might have the most like prolific career out of any of the other.
Quantity
Yeah.
wise.
Yeah.
Quantity
Quantity-wise.
over quality. though.
Yeah. Well,
No, Dan Aykroyd.
Oh yeah, that's probably.
So Winston wins quality there.
well, I know that in the
But Dan Aykroyd was in Ghostbusters and Blues Brothers.
yeah, and so he peaked in 1984.
Yeah, pretty much.
I also know that in the original, like the TV, the 4:3 aspect ratio version of Ghostbusters, at the end when they go and they go after Gozer, that Winston gets cut off when they all walk up.
Yeah.
So you have the three principal white actors and then the one black guy who actually has some of the
Edited
best
for
lines.
time and content.
Yeah.
I think there wasn't really much Winston in the Ghostbusters 2 original script.
No, there wasn't.
Which is kind of funny because he's in the first scene.
Oh yeah.
And then he just doesn't
Well,
show
no,
up
the
again.
first scene.
Or, no, but he's there with Dan Aykroyd at the birthday party.
That's true. Yeah. Where
So he's like sets up the movie with Aykroyd and then just kind of disappears for like 30 minutes.
at the birthday party where they somehow know their own theme song.
It's a little it's a little like meta joke before meta became a thing, but
Well, it's the old theme song. It's not the sweet new DMC version.
That's true.
it's not the DMC version. It's not, and it's also
he says reaching for his phone.
there's another song that you'll hear I think 150 times in Ghostbusters 2, and it's this. God. That song shows up
Constantly.
every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Fucking Bobby Brown is up in my
They
face.
cue it right up at the beginning of the chorus, and anytime someone is not talking or there's a transition scene where they have to drive or walk somewhere like across the room, that song comes in.
Yeah.
Well, because the Ghostbusters are constantly having to take control of the situation.
That's right.
Well, the funny thing is I recognize so much of the music from this movie because for some unknown reason, the Ghostbusters 2 soundtrack was like my first CD.
Never having seen it.
No. So it's probably about like 5 years after the movie itself has actually come out. We go, my parents
That's the time to buy it.
Yeah, my parents wanted a CD player. I'm there as a kid. And I'm like, I like the cover of this one. It looks cool.
What was the cover? Was it the 2?
It's like the Ghostbusters with the Ghostbusters 2 peace sign logo.
Yeah, I think I remember it. They were.
You had it too, I'm betting.
Did they have the four of them, like the...
It was like the original
Probably just
movie
like the
poster.
movie- yeah,
with the
yeah.
four of them with the slime blasters.
Yeah,
Except
yeah.
it was like a blue background instead
Yep.
of the black
Yeah,
one.
correct.
That's
Yeah.
the picture of the video that I just played, too.
Oh, nice.
Is that's
the album
with
cover?
Bill Murray
Yeah.
looking really enthused to be there.
Oh yeah, I bet he loved
This
him
whole
in the
movie,
promo
he looks
shots.
like he's pretty excited.
Mhm.
But so the background of Ghostbusters 2, like I know we've done a little bit of research into this. So it's like 1987, 1988.
Well, we didn't actually cover Ghostbusters 1 at all just now.
Oh well, we kind of did. We got the good stuff out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they fight the ghosts and
They bust a lot of ghosts.
they win, save the city.
Yep.
I do want to talk about maybe the alternate reality that exists.
Oh, the Aykroyd verse.
Yeah, so it was Ghost Mashers or
Ghost
Smashers.
Smashers. Ghost Smashers.
And yeah, so it'd be Aykroyd, Belushi, John Candy would be there instead of Rick Moranis.
Yep.
Eddie Murphy instead of Winston.
Yeah. Well, no, yeah, he'd be Winston.
No,
if
he was going to be just Eddie Murphy in the movie. Yeah.
He was actually
he would have been
He's
Murphy.
playing
He,
himself.
he was actually going to play the characters was Ernie Hudson.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they changed it when they cast Ernie Hudson.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
yeah.
good point. You don't want that. That would just be weird.
Yeah, and then who else? Someone else was supposed to be in it too, right?
I know I think it was another SNL alum or somebody else.
Yeah,
But I know for sure that Louis Tully was supposed to be like a buttoned up like type businessman with like a suit. Mm-hmm. Oh, Paul Rubens was going to be Gozer.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
yeah.
Pee Wee Gozer. Yeah.
So and they were supposed to go through alternate dimensions, and they'd have wands, and the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man was just one of many giant things that they'd have to fight.
There were like franchises and stuff in this version, if I remember. Like there were Ghostbusters like all over the place. There wasn't franchises of the Ghostbusters, but there were lots of different people that were doing
lots of Ghost Smashers.
That job. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ghost Smashers.
Because, well, I was reading online that Dan Aykroyd has like very mild, like either like Asperger's or autism or something. So
No,
I'm not trying to be mean. No, he does, and something he's always keyed in on is paranormal stuff. So this movie really plays out of that.
well, I'll tell you what.
And it's Crystal Skull vodka.
The Aykroyds have had multi-generational interests in the paranormal. I think it was his dad or his grandfather was really into like the spiritualism movement, like trying to prove the existence of ghosts and fairies and all of the crazy shit. So he grew up with that stuff.
So like everything that a rational person like Harry Houdini doesn't believe in.
Yeah, he's
the anti-Houdini.
Yeah, Dan Aykroyd's grandfather was the exact opposite of Harry Houdini.
Nice.
He was the Mr. Glass. So it's like 87 or 88, and Columbia Pictures is starting to make some sweet moolah off the real Ghostbusters cartoon. Mm-hmm. And they also are,
which was also great.
Which was great. That was one of my favorite cartoons growing up as well.
Be honest though, most of their revenue was coming from ecto coolers.
Oh yeah, It's amazing how long ecto coolers were around, even after the cartoon was gone.
I think it went away like in the like 97.
It was late.
It was a decade.
2007.
Really?
Because it was delicious. Green tang,
It was around
basically.
for a long time.
Well, they
like a whole generation of kids that drank it didn't know why there's this green ghost on it. Yeah.
Well, this is also kind of weird. Independently, about maybe 7 or 8 months ago, I looked up the formula for Ecto Cooler because I wanted to make some. I found out that Ecto Cooler was actually they changed the name, but they kept the same. It's the same thing.
It's not green anymore?
It wasn't green, but it's the exact
like
same thing.
Some kind of tangerine.
Yeah, it was like tangerine blast in your mouth or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they changed the name a second time, and then they finally took it away. But you can make it with like Kool-Aid, certain Kool-Aid packets, and like some juice that you buy at the store. You can make Ecto 1 Cooler pretty easily, and put food coloring in it, make it green.
I know that the main Ghostbusters do that at the PortCon. They always bring like huge coolers full of it. I don't know anything else about the main. I don't want to talk about the main Ghostbusters because it just embarrasses me that they exist.
Are they Ecto Coolers that they bring the Ecto Cooler in?
Yeah.
You know, I didn't check.
No.
Have you ever seen them on the road in their car?
No.
I have. I passed them on the highway before. Yeah,
Do they have their own Ecto 1?
Yeah.
It's a Ford Focus station wagon.
Why don't I know about this?
Yeah. No, it is. They do have like an old wagon or something.
Yeah.
It looks like a station wagon.
It's got like swim noodles and stuff stuck to it. It's great.
Yeah. No, I mean, being fair to the main Ghostbusters, the car does look pretty legit.
The costumes look pretty good too.
Yeah.
Like the proton packs are like spot on. It's I mean, they're
Their
doing a great
brains
job.
could use some work, but
Yeah,
It's just the go to places.
I've never met them. I don't know. Sorry.
I haven't been bothered by any ghosts, so they must be doing a good job.
Yeah.
That's a good
Well,
point.
it's because they don't exist.
Oh, wait, what? Thanks for just bursting everybody's bubble there, dickweed. So, but yeah, Ghostbusters 2, basically Paramount Pictures needs a sequel to go along with the real Ghostbusters cartoon. Nobody wants to really do a second Ghostbusters. I think most of all, surprisingly, Bill Murray wasn't on board with it.
Oh, that's weird.
Because he seems like such an easy guy to work with.
He'll just do anything.
Yeah, so they end up having a 4-hour lunch with the principal cast, Aykroyd, Ramis, Bill Murray, and Ivan Reitman, and then a couple of studio heads.
Did they leave Winston out?
They did leave Winston out.
He wasn't there.
He doesn't. He's hired. He's hired help.
At
least he was paid.
I'm pissed. Yeah,
but
he just cleans out the traps. I mean, that's pretty much all he does.
He cleans out and also in an alternate script that we're going to go over later, he also helps Louis fill out their W-2 forms. So But yeah, they get together for 4 hours. They have a lot of fun. They say, you know what? Let's do a second Ghostbusters, because originally they wanted to do another movie with the same people, but not Ghostbusters. So they get together and they start doing it. Start doing it just hot and heavy. There's just a river of slime.
Yeah.
But so it just seemed it was a movie that I think it shows when you watch it that there's really talented people doing something kind of half-assed because they don't really want to be doing it, and you kind of get the feeling because there's good stuff in this movie, but it's not start to finish like someone put a whole lot of effort and thought into it. It's kind of like we have some good ideas and we just kind of need to crank this bitch out and get it done, and then it's done. So.
So
do we want to dive into the movie itself then now?
Sure.
Yeah.
So at the opening scene, so this movie, first of all, it looks much better than Ghostbusters. Like it's just it's a much better.
It does.
looking
Just
movie.
a couple years in, I guess, film technology alone.
It's there was never a 4:3 version, like on home video. I think they had one for TV, but like
Only
the
letterbox?
VHS was only letterbox.
Huh.
And immediately you can tell it's like a daylight scene. Everything just looks way better. Like it's much nicer. So it's Dana Barrett. She's just been to the grocery store. She's coming home. She's got the baby buggy. We don't know what that's about yet. So we think, maybe Venkman and her had a baby. But anyway, more about that later. So as she's wheeling the cart, it rolls over some pink slime that's like oozing up out of the sidewalk. And she's talking to the doorman, and the baby buggy sort of just takes off on its own. It takes her a second to notice it, but then there's a big chase, and all kinds of people are chasing it. There's a bunch of extras that have to jump out of the way that could easily have just grabbed it and stopped it, but the script. So they kept going.
Well, that thing probably weighs like what, 12, 13 pounds?
I mean, you want to get out of the way of
way.
that. I mean, a baby and a baby carriage? That's dangerous.
Why put your life on the line for a baby?
That's right. The construction workers and everything that bowls over.
Another 9 months, or it's just going to be another one.
Well, it's funny you mentioned the construction workers, because I was struck by how it immediately in the opening, before the baby buggy starts even to move, how they want to let you know this is New York City, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
So everyone's, hey, watch out
we're
here.
tough guys.
Hey, we're
Hey.
tough. Hey, here comes a lady here. Hey, what's
Get a
up?
slice of pizza.
Hey, I'm tough, but you know what? I'll help you with your bag.
Yeah, the doorman. It's not really my job, but I'll help you out.
Yeah, I'm a good guy. You know, it's all right.
So they chase down the baby buggy, and it stops like right in the middle of the street, mysteriously. She picks up the baby, and then cue the new logo and new Ghostbusters theme song.
And he's giving the peace sign.
And then I think it cuts over to like a dilapidated Ecto-1.
Well, he's speeding, and it's gonna.
Yeah, there's just like this smoke pouring out of the back of it, like it hasn't been addressed, and they're getting out. It's sort of like it's a psych out because you think they're gonna go fight some ghosts, but no, it's a kid's birthday party.
Yeah.
And it's just Ray and Winston. So I mean, it's the two worst Ghostbusters, really.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking through my notes as you go through this.
Or fortunes for the Busters. That's my note.
My note was when the Ghostbusters 2 thing comes out, because it's like a cartoon that steps in and throws the peace sign.
Yep.
I put lame ass ghost with peace sign. Really fucking lame.
Yeah.
So they get out and they talk to a woman, and they're like playing the pronoun game, so you don't know what she's talking about. So she's just saying, yo, they're in there and they're the yay high. You think she might be describing ghosts, but turns out it's a kid's birthday party, and the Ghostbusters have sunk to entertaining kids.
They're fucking clowns, basically.
They are clowns. Worse than clowns, because
They're
the
Dan
kids,
Aykroyd, yeah.
the kids are just not interested.
I wrote first I asked who likes He-Man. I didn't know. I couldn't remember if that was a thing in '89.
I think in '89 it was He-Man was pretty past it.
Yeah, and then I also said the dance is fucking lame too.
Yep. And they sing their own theme song from the first movie, which is kind of weird.
And guys, it seems like the kids like jeer them right off stage, but they get fucking paid anyway.
Yeah.
Like, did they stay there the whole birthday, or did Aykroyd put that kid's hat on and then walk out.
Like, yeah. They just left and sat in the side of the room and ate cake or something. Like,
And
hey, you booked us for 2 hours. We're going to be here for 2 hours.
and also another big question I had was, are they wearing the actual fucking proton packs, the ones that are the particle accelerators?
Yeah, that
man.
seems a little
And just
dangerous.
bringing it to a
just
kid's birthday
unleashed
party.
those on those kids.
So as soon as that kid said that they were full of crap, he could have just cut them in half with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that kid who says that they're full of crap, that's Ivan Reitman's kid.
I knew that too. Did you find that on IMDb?
I did.
Oh, I know
Actually,
where you go.
I think it was on the Wikipedia. I don't think it was on the IMDb.
Oh, that's right. We only go to we get it right from the source
Right from
here.
the
Real
source.
scholastic work.
When you
going
come to
on,
less than
yeah.
or sequel to, it's either if you've only read Wikipedia, we're going to give you IMDb.
That's right.
And vice versa. You get them both.
There's the Ghostbusters wiki as well that I also looked at.
I did too.
Oh, nice. GB Wiki?
GB, yeah.
Nice. And then what do we transfer over to Egon after that?
Yes, Dana goes to see Egon
Yeah.
after that.
Oh, my baby.
Oh, so Egon is back at Columbia,
Yep.
And
which
he is.
they don't really mention like how he ends up back at Columbia because he gets kicked out for
He's
being a
just that
crackpot
smart.
Well,
in the first movie.
I think they hated Venkman most, and he was like their ringleader because Egon's legit a genius.
That's
he
true.
created
Yeah.
all of their technology.
Well, and later on when Venkman asks him something about like, oh, they wanted your big brain, and he says, no, my epididymis,
Yes.
which is part of the male reproductive system. So Egon boned his way back
Yep.
into university.
Yeah.
Yep. And he makes a dirty joke in there, which is
Yeah.
I
is
thought,
nice.
and was I the only one who was a little misty when seeing Harold Ramis on screen as Egon,
yeah.
knowing
it was-
that he's dead?
also it was great. Like they
You don't care because you don't know these fucking movies, but
They really used Egon a lot more in this movie, and he had some really good lines. It was a little bit better than just him
He carried this
doing
thing.
technical explanations.
Yeah.
So he wasn't like the Geordie LaForge of this movie.
well, he does one where Dana asks him some question like, "Oh, you testing me or whatever?" And he goes, "No," and she turns around, and he's like, and I was like, and I wrote, "That's so Egon."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then after he says he'll do whatever he can, and she kisses him on the cheek, he visibly orgasms.
But if he's such a player, that shouldn't be much of a big deal for him. He
I think
shouldn't-
it's like he was really excited by it, and he was also gloating to Venkman a little bit. I
He
think
was
there.
already pretty torqued up over ruining those people's marriages, too.
Oh yeah.
the marriage counselor, and he's turning
Yeah.
we're turning the heat up to like a 98 degrees or whatever,
Hey,
and they're
make
playing
him wait.
98 degrees while they're in there.
98 degrees would have been like 4 years old. I also had that, where he also has some type of experiment going on with like giving a little girl a puppy.
Oh yeah.
Let's see what happens when we take
That's
the
when you
puppy
take the
away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you watch the Always Sunny, Chris, but the little girl is a young Maureen Ponderosa.
I know you told me this. You told me this off mic. So
Oh, I did. I don't watch.
Oh, well,
those
that's-
things.
Okay, well, it's a kind of a minor character in the show, but it's just
She's weird.
She's remarkable.
she's a weirdo, as a dead tooth, and wears like cat sweaters.
Oh no, I remember that. I did. I watched the first couple of seasons. I remember
Yeah.
the dead tooth character. Yeah.
Well, I also was I the only one who when they give that little girl the puppy, when they give Maureen Ponderosa the dog, I wrote that dog is so dead now, frowny face.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
'Cause
that dog is dead.
And his kids are dead, and their kids are dead.
Oh,
And
so many
their
dead
kids,
dogs in this
Yeah.
movie.
Oh, there's so many.
And their kids are at the vet right now,
Getting
probably
put
being
to
put
sleep.
down. Yeah.
They probably have like cancer, dog cancer or whatever.
That's the worst kind of cancer.
Or they have like
Yeah, when you have dogs grown in you.
they get like soft babies inside them or something.
I
They
got tumors so big they're barking. So after that is when we find out what Venkman's been up to with the talk show, which at that point, like the
This
first,
is one of my favorite parts of the movie.
The first-
is
this
world
whole-
of the psychic.
these first few scenes are really strong because when we get to World of the Psychic,
Yeah,
it's
like
like
getting the band back together
Yeah.
is the best part of the movie.
like seeing where everybody is and finding out that everyone's kind of gone their separate ways.
Mm-hmm.
And this is, I feel like Bill Murray is actually enjoying this scene because there are future scenes where he's not,
Yes,
but he's doing his vintage Bill Murray stuff in this
yeah,
one.
it's really good.
And
Oh, and the guy predicts the actual end of the world. Which is
Valentine's
at-
2016.
No,
Yep.
no, that's the
Or-
woman.
Yeah.
I wrote,
Because the alien took her to the
Holiday Inn at Paramus.
the Holiday Inn in Paramus, or it might have been a room on the spaceship made up to look like a room at the Holiday Inn in Paramus.
That's why I wrote down, is this alien Bill Cosby?
Oh, alien Bill Cosby. But then the other guy,
topical.
he had an accurate prediction of the end of the world, which was when the climax of the movie happens.
That was my favorite too. And he's like, wouldn't you say 1992 or better yet 1994 because of the book deals or the movie deals and stuff. So I was like, that's 20 years ago now.
Oh, let's not forget the Bassmasters.
Yeah, Bassmasters is a fishing show.
Bassmasters. Yeah, I know Bassmasters.
That's coming up. Or Hairless Pets. Hairless Pets was also, I like
Weird.
that. They are weird.
And next we meet Janosz Pubehead.
Isn't it Ray's Occult Bookshop next?
No. Next up, we actually do.
They cut in, so show a little time passing.
And as he's leaving, and then the mayor walks through for some reason, and then we get to
Mayor.
and we get to meet Kurt Fuller.
Yeah,
as being a wiener douche, like he always is, being excellent at it, and he infers that Venkman's a fraud, and I think earlier when the producer of the show's talking, he says, "I am a fraud," but why does everybody think the Ghostbusters made all this stuff up? Everyone saw the fucking Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Everyone got coated in his white goo.
That's true. They were immediately cheering them. All the ghosts got out of the containment unit, and they were terrorizing everyone.
And then they just they don't really explain how people still think that they're full of shit.
Yeah, they got sued for damages, according to this movie.
Yep.
So I guess damages to that apartment building?
Yeah. But then, how did that happen? How did that street open up? They didn't do that.
Right, and they blew up the top of the building that wasn't there.
Yeah.
Before it was supernaturally formed on the top of the building, and they blew that up. So they had to pay. How much does it cost to supernaturally form something on top of an apartment building?
Do you think Ray lost his house?
With his third mortgage?
Yeah.
I actually
kind of bummed me out thinking about that.
Well, they went bankrupt, so he must have lost his grandmother's house.
In this script that I'm going to go over later on when we kind of get through a little bit more of this, Ray does in fact lose everything, and all he has is the bookstore where he lives.
Oh.
It's a bummer for Ray.
Bummer.
Yeah.
Right, he's got that and all that Crystal Skull
Venkman's
vodka to keep him warm at night. Venkman is...
He is a bastard.
Hey, we'll let you put up all the capital for this business. I'm going to leave with plenty of money and set up a TV show. You can be homeless, basically.
Yep.
They do kind of treat...
Well, you can call it fate.
You can call it fate. Call it karma. But yeah, you're right, James. We meet Janosz Pubehair. And
gotta say the whole name. Yeah.
Janosz Pubehair and Vigo. We finally get to meet the bad guy, who's Prince Vigo. We
don't really meet him. We just see a picture of him, really.
But he's the picture.
The painting is the bad guy in this movie, which is a small problem, I gotta say.
Well, and how painfully Caucasian is Dana? She's like, okay, well, I have a wonderful job playing music for the symphony.
Her fallback position.
Yeah, her fallback position is restoring priceless ancient art. Oh my God!
My fiance,
work at a 7-Eleven, and
do
I
you
would
do
like
that?
you more.
My fiance and I talked about that. Is that a job that you have to get trained for, or is that something you can just be like a butt and just roll in and do it?
You would need if you don't that's something you would be in PhD training for.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah, that's what I thought. So
how you could practice the cello enough?
I have a little bit of experience
in art restoration.
No, in actually the museum world, and that's a very cutthroat. First of all, the pay is really not there. She is not subsisting on her own in New York.
Tell us more about your experience in the museum system.
Yeah, I thought.
Yes, please.
I thought before going in my botched attempt at education, I was like, museums are pretty cool. I'd like to do that. They're, first of all, there's a glut of people who want to just hang out in museums all day. So for you to be even a little bit considered, you need basically a PhD or a PhD program. You also have to write grants all the time.
It's a lazy man's job, though, right?
You can go to a museum. All you need is a student ID.
No, there's a ton of stuff to actually work there, get paid and stuff. There's a ton of stuff you're always putting on programs.
Using the Swiffer, trying to get the dust off the books.
And also, it's not like they're not money factories. You have to you have to write for grants all the time and really compete for them. They work hard, but they work hard in a very they're very soft-handed and affluent, like
I've been on the computer for an hour. I need to take a break.
Yeah.
They're busy.
They're not breaking rocks like real New Yorkers.
Yeah, that's all right. I don't have time to write for grants.
So that's the thing is so in the first movie, she's making a living, has her own apartment, playing what is it?
I think it's a cello.
She's a
Cello.
cellist.
Yeah.
She's a cellist.
Which is
Okay.
pretty amazing. I mean, she must be really good. I mean, she's playing with the...
Is it the the New York Philharmonic Orchestra?
I don't think they name it, but I just assumed that's what it was.
Because I know they got a couple, but the conductor in the first movie is one of the preeminent conductors in the world, and that her kind of, I don't know, her fuck buddy or whoever that guy is who has the nasal drips.
He's a violinist.
Yeah, he's apparently one of the finest musicians in the world because she tells you that. So she's not
The Stiff.
Yeah, the Stiff.
No, Yo-Yo Ma.
He's the appropriately named Stiff.
The Stiff.
He's one of the finest violinists in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So she's not just playing like at somebody's house.
Right.
She's not just one of those random cellists who just pop up at house parties. She's playing someplace that's got to be like one of the preeminent places in the world.
Yeah, so she has to leave that job to raise her kid, and then she goes to another job, which would just take all of her time up. I mean, both of those jobs are more than 40-hour-a-week jobs.
Well, and they're both very competitive art markets too. Like I want to see her like a real cellist or a real, museum PhD works in insurance. That's what I want to see.
I think they were trying to make her like the opposite of Venkman, but it doesn't really work because he is like a doctor.
Yeah.
I mean, it's parapsychology, but I mean, still, it's not like he's just some blue-collar Ghostbuster.
He has real psychology too, though, doesn't he?
Psychology and
He's got
and
parapsychology.
parapsychology,
yeah.
that's right.
So only one of his specialties is fake. Yeah.
Hey guys, who the fuck is watching Oscar when Dana's at work?
Who cares?
That's a good question.
We never see a nanny. I mean, I guess
Because it's not Janine yet.
no, but she had to get pregnant and have this kid, and there's no man in the picture because I guess we assume that the Stiff is the baby's dad.
I guess he went to play with the London Philharmonic, I guess.
Yeah, so he just left his baby mama and his baby to just go away. Mm-hmm. So essentially, he's a deadbeat.
Well,
Yeah.
the weird thing is, why didn't she go with him?
He played her
Because she had
like
to
a
stay.
fiddle.
She was going to lose. She was going to change her. She was going to stop playing cello anyway and
Yeah.
just go to some job. So why didn't she just go with him?
It's a good question. I guess when you really start thinking about some of these things, there are a lot of good questions.
It's almost like Sigourney Weaver was just sort of shoehorned awkwardly into this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, as I look through looking at my notes, the only thing I wrote for the Vigo scene was, how did Dana get this job? Does this require training? Which we've covered.
Yeah.
Also, Peter McNichol is amazing.
He is. He's great.
Oh yeah, he's great. It's
Where are you from anyway?
The Upper West
Upper
Side,
West Side.
and he gives him he gives him that limp, just a limp
the real
hand to
thin
shake.
handshake. Yeah.
Yeah, like he's
Charmed.
So again, we're still kind of firing on all cylinders. Like, okay, this is
It's
so
still
far
rolling along.
This so
Yeah.
far is a good enough sequel to Ghostbusters. Like, you're still in it.
Yeah.
And well, we do have to establish that Janosch is really into Dana.
He is so
he
into
had
Dana.
absolutely-
We had Rick Moranis' first movie, and we have Janosch Pubehead this movie.
Yeah.
So I just wrote Dana's a wiener magnet, but like not in a good way. Like,
And he's going around because he's like critiquing the work of everyone in there. And he's like,
That's so
everything
nice.
you're doing is bad. I want you to know this. And then he sees her and he's like, this is
good work.
amazing.
You did very good job here. Just pull this thing out of your hair.
Which
Just
it's a
see.
pretty hard job. So I think if you were sort of the supervisor,
touch you.
I think if you're the supervisor or the boss or whatever position that could be, the boss of art restorers or whatever,
We don't have.
I don't think you really go around criticizing the work of them or
Just so you know, Dana, we don't have HR here, so don't worry. You have no one to talk to. But the next scene is the bookstore.
yes.
That's when you go to Ray's Occult, which is as where we've kind of inferred that that's the only thing that Ray has left.
I'm pretty sure that's where Dan Aykroyd was actually working.
and living.
Yeah.
And I think is that
He didn't
the
even
only,
know they were filming.
is that the only scene in the bookstore? Also,
Yes.
there's so much just, like stuff in the movie gets thrown out.
Yeah,
and then they never go back to it.
That would have been a great place for them to find out a lot more of the things, because if you get all the Vigo information, it's like a quick screen cap, and then they talk about it as they're going into the museum.
So they obviously want to get them right back into the firehouse. So when they're doing the research and stuff, they're right back in there. But it's really a missed opportunity because they could have been looking through his books and stuff, just as like a scene with a different tone.
Spending more time.
I think they mention the bookstore again, but they don't go there.
I'll go back to the bookstore.
I think I found something.
Wait, what is he like?
Oh, I think I found something.
That's a great. Is that Aykroyd you're doing?
I don't know. Yeah, it is.
Hey, I found something.
Hey, yeah, I think I found something here. And I said I wrote down. I don't know why. Aykroyd is a good actor. I don't know why you wrote that down.
I
don't know what he does in that scene, but I thought he was just lights out.
He wears like glasses low on his nose.
Yeah.
I mean,
does he give like some looks?
He does do some looks.
And I said I also liked how they all seem like buds hanging out, but they hang out regularly, but not all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe they see each other a couple times a month, so they've done stuff, and then they get back and they kind of catch up.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're regular buds, but
like every 2 weeks they podcast. Yeah,
something like that. Well, after that, they go back to Dana's place, and that's when the Ghostbusters come over to kind of investigate to see what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And she has a new apartment because she's not in the Central Park West.
That's true.
High rise. She has another dope ass apartment that she can pay for
it's
as a single
place.
As a
it's
single mom.
Rick Moranis harassed her out of her last one.
And also it blew up.
And it exploded. So that she has the new apartment.
And then Venkman starts negging her hard.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's bad.
Yeah, if you're familiar with bad VH1, like pickup artist terms, he is negging all over the place.
You could say that Dana has neg on her face.
Yeah.
I don't think we should say that.
It's too late. It's committed. It's on tape. And I was wondering, why isn't this Peter's kid?
I don't know. It makes really no logical sense. It would be
so much better if it was. He would just be connected to it. I know that they didn't want them to be
out of wedlock.
They didn't want them to be married because Harold Ramis thought like they wouldn't be able to get a lot of jokes out of it, and it wouldn't be.
Would they seem too old, like if they were married,
or like they couldn't put that love interest?
Bill
back
Murray's
in?
Like hairline and face doesn't do that for him. I mean,
I think they just didn't want to have to do another love interest with another character.
I actually wrote down in the scene. They look like they're 50 years old. Baby? Question mark.
Yeah.
But I think they're only like late 30s or early 40s by this point.
I think actually out of the principal cast, Sigourney Weaver's the oldest.
Really?
Yeah.
But this is I think she's like early mid 60s now, so she would have been.
Yeah, like she's not super old in this. The other guys just look like dog shit.
She would have been like 40, but she does. I wonder if that's actors in the 80s compared to actors now, because now everybody's so concerned with like looking young and like vital.
Yeah.
And then back then it's just
movie stars looked like shit in the 80s.
They look like fucking garbage.
Oh, yeah. It was bad. I mean, for instance, they cast Sigourney Weaver in a movie as the love interest.
Twice.
Yeah. When they had Janine.
Oh,
yeah.
Janine.
There you go.
Well, Janine got all punked up for this one.
Yeah.
She's doing a lot better than the first one when she.
That's still fine. My 8-year-old self was totally cool with that.
You're all dorked up about Janine.
He's just humping couches left and right.
I did have a note later on.
8 years old, I was into it.
That Rick Moranis was babysitting dat ass.
So we find out a little bit about Egon's childhood.
Yep.
In that scene.
Is that why he wrote down spooky vagina?
I don't think so.
Why you wrote
they asked him if he had any toys or anything, or Ray asked him. And it says I had part of a slinky once, but I straightened
it out.
Yeah.
That was actually delivered. It was so ridiculous, and I thought he delivered that so well.
It was perfect.
That was probably one of my favorite scenes in the movie.
That's why Egon is so great in this. Like, he gets such awesome lines, and Harold Ramis was just really on
He's firing on all cylinders, yeah.
And then,
why did I read?
Well, in talking about Peter being the kid, the father of the kid, he actually says like, I
could have been your father.
I should have been your father. I could have been your father. And it's like,
which is a really weird thing to say.
That's almost a meta thing too. Like
it's been 5 years.
5 years later, it tells you right at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, so that's just and who knows what the two of them went through or how long they were together. But it's just a weird thing to walk into your ex-girlfriend's apartment and pick up her kid and say, "Oh, you should have been mine."
That is a creepy thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun. Like as the movie-going audience, you watch it and you're like, "Well, that's probably true." So that was just him speaking for the audience at that point. But if you really think about it, it's a really creepy thing to do.
What if she'd heard him?
Yeah.
She walked in the room.
Worse.
She walked into the room and just said, "I should have been your dad."
Well, then they do
Let's
go
make him
sort
a
of
brother.
back and forth about that. He starts referring to her as the old ball and chain. So they must have been together for a while.
Yeah.
So she got with this she
rebounded.
She got with the stiff, and then
She got some
And
stiff.
then she got with the
She
and
got
then had a kid like right
she
away.
got
and then
with
he
the
took
stiff.
off.
She got on the stiff.
Yeah, she got stiffed.
Double stiffed. And this at this point too, we talked about it. This is when I really started to notice how clean the movie looked compared to like the movie
Oh
quality.
yeah, there's way less. Even just the film grain was.
It looks like it
gone.
almost looked like a movie from. It reminded me of like the tone of like Groundhog
from
Day,
like
which
1991.
yeah. Instead of 89, it was like 91.
Yeah.
Well, they were trying to like eradicate film grain at that point, but it was before digital. But they were still trying to do super clean looks.
Because the first one is a great movie, but
Quality's not good.
it just looks like they ran out of money, so they used the cheapest cameras they could find.
I think not to nerd out, but I think the first one was on 35, and then they did this one on 70.
Don't nerd out.
I'm not nerding out.
You just did.
Oh, yes. It was also a different aspect ratio. This one was 2.35 to 1 instead
Oh
of...
wow, that's
you know
so
what? That
fucking
made
interesting.
all the difference.
Yeah, I really noticed that. I
It
should put
makes it
down.
more epic.
It's in my notes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, my next note is Ivan Ooze ice cream scoop.
Oh, that's because the next scene they go digging.
Yeah, I think I also just like the way that sounded.
Also, in New York City... In New York City, why would you ever
Good
have to
band name.
dig straight down? Like, everywhere in New York City, there's something under the ground there already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And why would they just go, oh, well, it's...
Well, they get to the River of Slime later on. Spoiler alert, when they're digging in the middle of the road, they find a river of slime.
Right.
It's psychomagnetic.
in the pneumatic
As
transit...
slime is wont to do.
Yep.
Pneumatic transit station,
So later on in the movie,
which is a real thing.
they go down.
Where like the Ninja Turtles set up camp in their second
It's
movie.
exactly the same as Ninja
Yeah.
Turtles too. There's actually only...
Secret of the Ooze?
There was
Yeah.
ever only one of those in New York because somebody built it without permission to try to sell it.
Oh, yeah, didn't you just like go in and just start blasting and just
Yeah,
start...
just
built
made this
it.
really ornate station and then built some track, and then the city of New York was like, no, we don't want this. So they had to close it up. So there's only one of those. So it is both where the River of Slime goes through and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles hideout in
Is that where
TMNT 2.
Richard Parker's lab is also?
An Amazing Spider-Man 2. Another fantastic sequel, yeah. Where Richard Parker has a...
Spider-Man.
Hey, Spider-Man.
Be my ooze.
It's Spider-Man.
Ooze me.
It's my birthday.
Spider-Man, just give me some of that ooze. So they go... they did...
Sorry.
Oh, wait.
That's stupid.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2,
Secret of the Ooze. I already
Yeah.
said that.
Yeah.
God
You're
damn it.
right, I'm sorry. I wasn't listening.
Yeah.
It's all right.
What is it with this pneumatic station
It's
and
just
slime?
it's just an audio format. You know, you probably should. You don't need to listen
I
to what's
can't do
going on.
anything except listen, really.
But later on in the movie, they get to the River of Slime by going down through some tunnels. Mm-hmm. Why didn't they just do that?
Dig through those tunnels. Yeah.
Good question.
They could they walk down there, and then like Ray finds the slime in a fucking hole in the wall.
Gonna have a fucking
'Cause they
stroke
wanna have,
with how
like-
much sense this movie makes.
The weirdest reason for them to get arrested ever.
But by blacking out all of Manhattan.
Yeah, so why didn't they just... Because they already had the restraining order against them, so they couldn't do any paranormal investigation or anything. So they could have gone down in the tunnels with their proton packs on, and then they could have just got caught doing that and gone to... Instead, they had to dig a tunnel, and for some reason there's one rusted conduit of metal that if you kick,
it knocks
it
everything
blacks
out.
out the whole of New York City.
Yeah.
Con Ed only has they got the one plug. There's one cord.
There's one orange extension cord that's plugged in New Jersey.
Well, in the middle of that scene too, when they're digging, we get the cut scene to Vigo at night when he shows himself to to Janos Puber.
Yeah, and they play the shitty
Puber.
suspense music
Yeah.
because this
Like,
movie has a really
"Whoa!"
shitty soundtrack. The score is terrible.
I guess we're gonna have to.
I think they must have used that so much because they didn't have a good score. They didn't have any incidental music, so they just had to use Bobby Brown over
Just
and
fuck
over
him
again.
every time. Or the Run DMC, the you call the Ghostbusters.
That's who you call.
Reverend Ron, are you here?
But for some reason, why does Vigo? Because he's the scary looking guy. Like he's standing in the picture and he looks kind of creepy.
He's basically Dracula.
Yeah,
like
he's
the
like-
way they describe him
Yeah,
is
he's
he's
Dracula.
Dracula.
He's Dracula and Rasputin kind of mixed. Because
Yeah.
they cut his head off and all that stuff.
Rasputin.
Did anyone write down all the things they do to kill him?
I didn't, but they
Maybe
right,
I'm going to look it up after the break.
right before his head died.
Because that was one of my favorite parts of the movie, but for some reason, I just can't memorize all the things they do to him.
But I wrote down that because he's the body is there. He's just a guy standing, and then all of a sudden he's a floating head.
Yep.
And I wrote that the face floating looks really shitty
Yeah, I guess
It was
they did
stupid.
that because they couldn't get it to look good,
when he was like in the photo,
like
in the
coming
picture.
to life in the thing.
Like, just fuck this, let it look like shit.
Yeah. It was Industrial Light and Magic, and I guess they had ideas. They were going to make it
Goddamn
claymation.
ILM. Yeah.
They're going to make it claymation, then it looks stupid. And they're going to make it just straight drawn animation, which obviously looks stupid. And so they just decided to green screen a dude's head
Ugh,
with the slime tunnel.
puke! It looks like fucking
Yeah.
garbage.
Well, that might have been one of those things where they were trying to connect Vigo to the slime,
Yeah,
and had to put it in after as well because that was. I guess they came up with that idea like a day before ILM was done in the movie, and it might have just been one of those things because they really don't make much of a connection between Vigo and the River of Slime.
no,
That's
there's
in it
there's
there.
no reason why. I mean, again, I keep teasing it. We're gonna get up to that early version of the script. The River of Slime is not present, but
Well, the River of Slime, it makes ghosts come to life. It makes like that woman's fur coat come
Yeah.
to life at that one point. Why couldn't it just be like that's the power that's fueling Vigo? Why does he have to be responsible for it somehow?
I don't know.
I don't know either. But
Hey,
we're
guy-
at about 50 minutes, so
Well,
let's,
just before we go though, hey guys, why the fuck wasn't Winston helping them when they're digging?
that's a good point. Because
Because
maybe there's some kind of union that he's in, and
he's inconsequential to the plot.
I think that's why.
Yeah. I got really pissed off about that. I like Winston.
I liked Winston a lot too.
And then he ran it so he's just missing for 30 minutes or so, probably longer. And then random so when they're back at the firehouse, he's just there the whole time hanging out.
Yeah, he just shows
Well,
up.
they're in court, right? They get the
Yeah, but Winston,
the restraining order lifted, but Winston's not there. So
he shows up at.
No.
He shows up.
is Winston still doing it illegally?
No, Winston shows up.
No, Ernie Hudson's I have to make some money, so I'm going to be shooting an episode of Law and Order this weekend.
Can I be an
guys.
extra
Hold
in
on.
this courtroom scene in Ghostbusters, please?
Time out because I did remember this, and then we'll go to break.
Okay.
Winston shows up right before and he talks to the guys at the bench, right? They're
Yeah.
sitting down.
Oh, yeah, you're right
And
about
then they cut to the screen, and he's not sitting down. He's not in the courtroom. Where the fuck did Winston go?
I don't know.
like,
That was
guys-
probably one of those pickup shots.
Guys,
they
I got
put in later.
priors. Got to get out of here. Yeah.
I gotta go to probate court. I'll
Yeah.
see you later. But all right. So now
All right.
we'll take a pee break.
All right, so you're listening to,
Less than or sequel
Sequel
to.
and we will be back in a moment.
Comma.
And we're back.
I guess we're going to have to take control of these breaks.
Time to take control of this fucking show.
I wish popping and locking had a noise to it because that's what I'm doing right now.
Dude, it's mostly just grunts.
You're only about halfway through with that Narragansett too.
This is number 2, though.
Is it? Oh, because you had the other one.
Yeah.
This show brought to you by Narragansett Lager.
Unofficially.
Yeah.
Maybe if we can get it to be official.
I'm
Maybe.
gonna write them a letter.
We bought it this time, but
It's like we buy your products and we talk about it on a show that nobody listens to.
Yeah.
Just send us a 6-pack.
I just want to send them a little bit of merit,
Well, that's how they sell it.
It is.
we don't
yeah.
have any listeners, but we record our podcast on honor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
They're basically the 4th member.
So we got one more scene before this movie just goes right off the rails.
The courtroom
Scene,
which is great.
I think the courtroom scene is this movie is a premature ejaculator because this is like the apex of the movie. I mean,
it has a little bit more of a Kurt Fuller comes back.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Kurt Fuller shows up and he's ready. He just wants to shove. For some reason, he's got a hard on for the fucking Ghostbusters.
That's because the mayor sort of gave them permission to destroy half the city or whatever they say they do in the first movie, and the mayor is now running for governor. And this guy is his like campaign manager.
It's been over 5 years. Like he's gone through a whole term.
Yeah, get over it.
He's been reelected even after the Ghostbusters.
Sorry about that throat clear.
No problem.
So
Yeah.
So the Ghostbusters show up and they have that I don't know his name, but the character actor who plays the judge, who's always a gruff old mean man.
Yep.
And
The Scolari brothers.
I tried him for murder.
Give him the chair.
But the Ghostbusters are on trial and they're bringing up the Con Ed guy. They bring up Venkman. This also has my favorite part, which is Louis Tully is their attorney. Rick Moranis comes back.
Yeah, he went to night school.
I just went to night school.
It's all right. We were arrested at night.
Yeah.
Which I thought it's like the jokes are still coming at this point.
Yeah.
The scene where Venkman is telling him everything to say while he's being examined.
That was
good.
good.
Amazing.
Rick Moranis is so good at being just like a wiener douche too. Yep. He's so well cast in this. This is like his definitive
I was stuck
role.
in an elevator for an hour and I had to make the whole time. But that's okay, because one time I turned into a dog and they saved me.
They helped me. Thank you. Thank you.
That was short and pointless.
Short, but pointless. So, then the Scolari brothers show up, the ghosts that come bursting out of the chair because the judge is giving everybody the business.
He's getting really mad, and the slime sample...
The psychomagnetheric slime.
Con Ed guy was like, whatever's down there, they must have put it there. And so they get the sample, and it's like bubbling up, and the mayor's getting really mad, or the judge is getting really mad. And then finally it explodes into the Scolari brothers.
That bench just jizzed out a couple ghosts.
Yeah.
And apparently the Scolari brothers were hugely expensive as far as the budget of the movie goes.
They were also huge. I didn't know that when you died and your spirit went on to the next plane of existence that you turned out to be like an 8-foot-tall monster.
Yeah, you turned into like a Muppet from Labyrinth, and you flew around.
But this is when they get the judge says, case dismissed, and then they put on their proton packs and they do the
basically
Ghostbusting.
extort their case dismissal from the judge by refusing
judge was
to
an
help
a-hole.
him.
I would have let him die before I got those ghosts.
Well, they needed to. It was case dismissed, but I don't know if they really lifted the restraining orders or anything. Or
Well, he says he basically rescinds everything.
Oh, that's right. You don't want us
exposing ourselves. So
Is that when Egon does a creepy laugh? I just have in my notes here, Egon does creepy laugh.
There's a quiet when the Scolari brothers go away and they start laughing, and Venkman's like, and then Egon goes, ha, ha,
ha,
yeah,
ha, ha, ha.
Again, just Harold Ramis just stealing every scene that he's in. They gave, because Egon in the first one is kind of the tertiary character.
Mm-hmm.
I think he plays second fiddle to both Pete and Ray as far as Ghostbusters.
Well, kids like me, Egon became my favorite character, and then especially in the cartoon.
Fucking nerd.
Yeah, so if you're a wiener nerd, if you're a nerdy wiener kid, then Egon.
Oh, who was your favorite character in the cartoon?
Me Four Eyes at school.
In the cartoon?
Yeah.
Slimer.
It might have been Ray.
Yeah.
I might have been Ray because I recognize the voice actor.
Ray.
I might have liked Pete too because he was also the voice of Garfield. Yep.
And then Bill Murray was the voice of Garfield in
my God.
in the movie later.
Oh my God, yeah.
So yeah, then they have this is when they go. It basically follows the exact Ghostbusters 1 like template because they go.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I did note had to keep parallel with the first movie.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Except that this is like now half an hour into the movie.
Well, the court scene is the same, is like an analogy for the hotel scene.
Yes.
And then they go right into a music montage where they take control.
Yep.
I believe they take Oh no, they don't. No, this is the
Run
DMC.
DMC does this
called
one,
Ghostbusters. Do you roll?
New hip hop theme. Yeah.
And then they're busting ghosts. The ghosts look pretty much the same as the first one.
Maybe a little better.
A little bit better.
Got to bring back Slimer. Audiences love that guy.
Yeah. They get it, and Slimer shows back up eating. Is he
The hot dogs?
Is he eating hot? Well, he's eating hot dogs.
Oh, he pops up out of the hot dog stand.
But he does that. He does that in the first one. That's the first movie.
Oh, right. You're right.
That's the
You're
climax
right.
of the first.
You're right.
He might be eating other hot dogs. At one point, he's in the Ghostbuster firehouse.
Yep.
And then Lewis sees him, and he's like, "Ooh!" and he turns around and runs away.
Yeah, he's just eating stuff, and it's falling out his ass.
That's right.
Yeah. His digestive system is pretty simple. It's a straight tube out his asshole. But I don't know why Slimer's in the whole fucking city. If you're a ghost, why the fuck are you hanging around with the Ghostbusters firehouse?
Yeah. It's like you were their first case. Like you intimately know them. You know?
Do you know why? Because Slimer is their pet in the real Ghostbusters.
Yeah,
and he talks
because in the real Ghostbusters episode, Citizen Ghost, they explain it, and that episode that was my favorite episode of the real Ghostbusters. Because it takes place right after the first movie, because the second movie hadn't happened yet. So they end up saving Slimer from the evil Ghostbusters who like grew out of the marshmallow soaked uniforms that they had. And they had to fight themselves, but they end up Slimer ends up like saving the day, so he becomes their pet.
And then Slimer dies.
Sounds like a more cogent story than this movie.
It would have been that just doing that episode at feature length would have been great.
What's Slimer a ghost of? Like a burn victim with a dog face?
Yeah, well, it's like sometimes ghosts come back as skeletons that drive
He's
cabs.
just like the Elephant Man's ghost.
Sometimes they come back as like that runner is just a man.
Yeah,
the ghost jogger. Yeah.
The ghost jogger is just a dude who checks his pulse.
Yep,
which I thought was like I like that.
Good. Yeah.
And then sometimes they come back as that. They're the size of that fucking archway that looks like the Arc de Triomphe when he like climbs through it.
Or they're the entire Titanic.
Yeah,
they come terrorize Cheech Marin.
Jack.
Better late than never.
Yeah. And then in that script, the Hindenburg lands as well, and flaming victims come off all just like chill.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
that would have been a family moment there.
I think there were like 3 or 4 people, because most of the people jumped out because it was only like 40 feet off the ground.
Yeah,
like they just shimmied down the rope. But yeah, that would have been a big. Well, you saw when the Titanic comes up, it's got the big hole.
Yeah,
we fucking know that it wasn't a giant hole,
split in half.
Numb nuts. Yeah, and it was just a couple little dots.
We didn't know
the ship itself has a ghost.
The ship
ghost
is a ghost. It's a ghost ship, which is an excellent Gabriel Byrne movie.
cool, bro. But yeah, this is when at this point, they leave, and then they get done with the stupid montage. It's exactly the same as the rest of it. And then
they fuck that slime, don't they?
Yeah, then we find out
Ray
that
is sleeping with it.
Ray is sticking his dick in the slime.
Yeah, that's a little weird.
Getting a little honey on that stinger.
They make
Ramus doesn't like look away though. Like
he goes,
I think he's been watching them at night. Like he's not participating, but he's kind of voyeur about it.
So what you're telling me is that Ray is fucking the pink slime while Harold Ramis watches?
Yes.
It's for science.
I mean, yeah, it is. Yeah. Let's see what happens. Oh wait, turn the temperature.
So he makes the opposite slime, like Egon.
The positively charged.
The positively charged slime.
Oh, baby.
So the slime itself is supposed to be made from like negative feelings.
It's psychomagnetheric slime, Chris.
Yes. So
scientifically speaking,
New Yorkers are so mad.
Oh, hey, New Yorkers!
Get out of my way, you pinhead!
Yeah.
So this wasn't around. It's 1989 when New York was at its worst, apparently.
And you don't want to wait too long for a sandwich. That's all.
Yeah. Well, it makes a little slime. A little slime just drops out of your butt.
Yeah. Then
Works
we have
its way into the sewer.
Bathtub tongue.
Oh yeah, the elephant trunk tongue.
Bathtub. Before bathtub tongue, I was wondering.
That was a little later though.
When they provoked the slime, and it's on the pool table before Jackie Wilson makes it dance.
Yeah.
Why was that actually bubbling? Because they're not really mad.
It's just
they're pretending to be mad. So if it works on actual negative emotions, why would it get all pissed off when they're just going, "You worthless piece of slime," but they don't really believe it?
I think because Ray is still bummed about losing his house, so he's always really
Ray is actually
He's
really,
like the Hulk in the Avengers. That's the secret, is that Ray is
Yeah,
always mad.
It's like this is
I'm
what I've
always
become.
pissed at Venkman.
He's just like, it was all Ray in that scene. He was just
The slime.
This is what I've become. I'm screaming at slime in a toaster.
Well, the slime had a headache the night before and just wanted to go to bed.
Yeah.
Well, and then the next scene is when Pete goes back to visit Dana at the museum, and that's when we get the Bassmasters line.
Yep,
Good line.
Yeah, it's a top.
line.
It's a top 5 line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the security guard says that World of Psychics is his second favorite show.
Yeah.
And then what's your favorite show?
So I used to be one of my 2 favorite shows. Like, what's the other one? Bassmasters. The fishing show. Yeah, I know Bassmasters. This is also when we get Carpathian Kitten Loss.
Yeah.
Whoa, Jinx, you owe me a Coke. And so this is kind of when it starts to get a little wonky, I think, because I think Bill Murray's trying to be Bill Murray in that when he's doing like the photo shoot, and it doesn't really land for me. It seems kind of like, okay, like it's like a funny guy who's trying to be funny rather than just being funny. Like, oh, okay, I've worked with better, but not many. Yeah, then we get the tub scene with the tongue, which I just wrote, oh shit.
Yeah, I just wrote bathtub tongue.
Bathtub tongue. That's scary. And then I said, she doesn't notice when the water stops, because the water stops and then it's just going.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I noticed.
That's
Not
not
just
gonna-
because I can see it, but
It won't stop unless you stop it. Be a rational adult. Look at your tub.
as a father, I can tell you that when you're running the bath, you do pay pretty close attention to it because you don't want to burn or drown your kid.
Steam it up. The hotter the water, the cleaner they get, like a dish.
Yeah,
Well, that's true. Well, sometimes we just, roll them into the dishwasher. Just run that for a little bit. Not on pots and pans or anything, just the normal wash because it's safer.
Then she
Comes out sparkling clean. No soap spots.
And then, so she rushes out with the baby, and I wrote down, I don't care about ghosts. Dress your goddamn baby if you're going to be taking him out into the elements of harsh New York.
she gets her coat.
Yeah. She dressed up her babies, but she won't dress her baby. She was in a bra.
So I looked it up. What happens to Vigo? How he dies originally?
Yeah.
Okay, what was it?
Ray says he didn't die of old age either. He was poisoned, stabbed, shot, hung, stretched, disemboweled, drawn, and quartered. And then just before his head died, his last words were, "Death is but a door, time is but a window, I'll be back."
The worst punishment was having to watch Ghostbusters 2.
Whoa. Zingers, that's why you came here. Well, she shows up at Pete's apartment, at Venkman's apartment, and he's sleeping on the couch. But he's got a bed, like, literally within sight of the couch.
He's such a goddamn slob.
Why is he such a piece of shit?
I did kind of like that.
You did laundry?
Yeah.
He's so pissed. He's pissed that she cleaned his clothes in his
He
apartment.
had the different levels of soil in his laundry.
It's like,
And he
so-
had the jersey from Joe Namath.
yeah.
We don't know how. We don't want to know.
Why did he? If that's really a jersey from Joe Namath, why the fuck are you using that as a diaper on a baby? You got towels.
Like, do you
Use a regular fucking t-shirt.
I like to think that he was like trying to get to his bedroom and just got so tired he couldn't even make it there. Or he's been, like eating in the bed all week and just full of dishes and stuff. And he's like, I'll just sleep on the couch tonight.
Maybe he's the one who started eating the French bread pizza that gets fed to the
maybe.
baby later, and that made the baby
Knocks
go to
him right
sleep.
out.
It knocked Pinkman right out too.
Somebody should look into that French bread pizza. I don't think that's what it's supposed to do. It's
Also, it's his own house. Let him sleep in the bed. You burst in here out of nowhere with your naked baby.
well, we want to see that Venkman is a little bit of a gentleman. He
But
takes
he's
the couch.
not.
No, he isn't.
No.
But
Why
there's got to be an everyman in there a little bit. So
And
they
it's
had to,
Winston.
And it is Winston. You're right,
Winston Firebuster,
but
next
not
scene,
in
yeah.
Ghostbusters 2. It's not. Not in Ghostbusters 2. It's not. They have
That's
to
right.
make it Venkman.
Because Winston in the one of the other scenes that used to kind of spook me as a kid was
The Echo scene.
no, not the Echo. We're not there yet. Where the photo shoot
Oh, when the dark room
and the darkroom scene.
catches on fire. Yeah.
And then watching it again, I'm like, okay, first off, there's a couple of things wrong. So all the different pictures are weird, and that's kind of like, oh, what's going on? But they show the little latch close. Why the fuck would that be on the outside of the door? So someone locks you into the darkroom when you need to develop your pictures, so you can't get out unless they let you out when you're done?
That's a good question. Why is that on the outside?
If you're, I'm super serious about my fucking photography, so you're gonna stay
Lock
there,
me in here.
develop all the pictures, don't let me out, and don't feed me until I'm done. And then what happens? What happens with Winston?
And then, well, the psychomagnetheric slime pictures starts a fire, and Winston busts that door down with his fire extinguisher, almost like a proton pack, guys. He's wielding that.
Yeah.
And he just puts that fire right out, busts it.
He's
He
a
does. He
firebuster.
busts
Yeah.
that fire. Yeah.
Winston Zedmore, firebuster.
Yeah.
And I
And-
think the score there, they're trying to be sort of epic and heroic, but they failed.
We
'cause
got
that
this
score
fourth
sucks.
character we haven't been doing anything with.
Well,
And
let's have him just save the important guys.
Well,
Yeah.
the flames.
He's
from,
like the Samwise Gamgee of the Ghostbusters.
the flames from those pictures were already kind of starting to go out. Because
That's true.
once the pictures
How
burn,
much can
like
they
nothing's
do?
gonna happen.
Yeah,
Not
there
touching anything.
there wasn't a lot of tinder in that room.
And then
It was-
he's and it's got the heroic music, and everyone and Egon and Ray look kind of like damsels in distress who have been saved. Like they're just kind of like,
And why did the pictures burst into flame? How is Vigo's power extend?
they didn't have because
Pictures of himself.
there's the pictures of the slime. Maybe
And then, some of them
if
were
you take a picture of the slime, that's how fucking powerful it is.
some of them were the shitty green screen head
Yeah.
effect.
Yeah.
Max von Sydow is the voice of Vigo because
Yes.
they totally screwed the guy who was playing him.
Well, because he apparently he was on. It's the same thing they did. This is another.
Darth Vader?
Did it to Vader?
No, they did it to Gozer.
They did Gozer
That
too,
was
yeah.
like some Romanian model, and she had a shitty accent, so they just got some old lady voice actress to gargle some egg whites, and then just go and talk.
Nothing's,
Ivan Reitman?
Yeah,
nothing's scarier than the.
He was the voice.
was he?
Yeah.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah, he was.
Look it up.
Oh,
I'm pretty certain he was.
I'm pretty sure it wasn't. It was like it was an old lady voice actress. He's the voice of Slimer.
I thought he was
fucking
both.
the voice of
served.
Slimer.
He's the voice of Slimer.
That's
You
true.
punk ass bitch.
this was I think it was Katharine Hepburn was the voice
Yep.
of Gozer.
Grace Kelly. It was Princess
It was
Grace.
Grace
Yeah,
Kelly.
they got her.
Grace of Monaco
Her
was
severed
the-
head, was her head severed by that point.
Well, that's how they got
Right
the
before her
vocal
head died.
effects.
Right before her head died,
before
they
her
got
head died.
the vocals in.
She did "Are You a God?"
But yeah, then Pete and they go out to eat. And
He was the voice of Zool.
Okay. I think he's also the voice of Slimer too. It's my ass.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was.
I wish you
Slimer.
put this
I'm right.
16-ounce
I'm
can up
right.
your ass.
Aw. This is just for show. This is just for show. We're doing it. This is entertainment.
Should have plenty of room.
Aw.
Let's not fight. Let's not fight.
I'm not that gaped. I'm only a little gaped. So then they go on in the subway, and that's when they get the ghost choo choo,
The beaver rats.
Yeah.
the beaver rats.
The scariest part of the
Band name I call it.
movie. Biggest beavers they are. Dan Aykroyd with
Winston
his
hates them. Yeah.
inexplicable Canadian Illinois accent. Biggest beavers.
He does when he says Chicago.
Chicago.
And I was wondering when they're in
The working man.
because that's the. Is that a little Ray Zelinsky in there?
A little bit.
Is that his name? Ray.
Yeah.
So he's Ray in both of them.
Yep. That's who I care about.
Yeah, that's on the big car parts for the working man.
Oh, another Canadian touch.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's also
'Cause
another.
Rick Moranis went to elementary school with Geddy Lee.
Oh, that's awesome.
This is also the marks. Even though this is episode 1, that also marks the second time that we've talked about the song "Working Man."
Yeah, we did. We talked about that in the B-side.
Yep.
Episode B-side.
In a deep cut. Maybe you guys will get to hear it someday.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Once our Sirius radio channel comes out.
Yeah, once we get sponsors and we start making that sweet podcast money.
Oh, yeah.
Why are the Ghostbusters so scared down there? Don't they fucking bust ghosts for a
Yeah,
living?
like they've literally seen the worst.
And
Well, the severed heads that come up.
I guess they
those are kinda
startle.
scary.
They startle them.
Yeah, and the echo. I mean, that was a good move on the ghosts doing the. Yeah, so the scene goes, Ray goes, hello, and then it's hello. And then Egon goes, Egon! And he goes, Egon. And Winston goes, hey! Because he's a black guy. And then it goes, Stern. And that's very scary.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
that was your impressions are uncanny. It sounded just like the cast.
that was my Ernie Hudson. I really based it more on the American History X performance than Ghostbusters, though.
Everybody's got an Ernie Hudson like in the back pocket when they need to bust it out at parties.
Yeah, it just depends on what performance you take it from. Like really the Orson Welles of Ernie Hudson.
I also had jingle means bone in my notes. I forget why that's there. And so does hamster.
What the fuck are you talking about?
I don't know.
Okay.
Did you have a stroke when you were watching this movie?
Well, like I said, I don't write down very detailed notes. I just
Jingle
kind of
means bone?
I just kind of
Jingle
prompt
means
myself,
bone.
and I do not
Obviously.
remember what's going on.
I mean, Chris and I have seen this movie maybe not 100 times, but I've seen it maybe 50 times.
So
What the hell is jingle means bone? I want to. Oh, did you say what was it? Also hamster?
So does hamster.
So does
Yeah.
hamster.
hamster means bone,
and jingle
and
means
jingle
bone.
means bone.
And I think bone is like not as in an ossuary, but as in like
Right.
Like sex.
Yes. For the record, James is doing pelvic thrusts right now to
He's
illustrate
popping and
his
locking,
point.
and he's pelvic thrusting.
No. So at some point,
Check
did
the
someone
levels.
say like, "Give me a jingle" or something? I don't know.
Oh, like give me a jingle, like give me a jingle.
Oh, that's right. I'll give you a jingle sometime, I think he says.
Yeah, and
We figured it
Which
out.
means bone. Yeah.
We figured it
It
out.
does. It does mean bone. You're right. Jingle
is-
means bone.
We should do that. We should have James just take these stream of consciousness notes, and then we try to figure them out.
I'm gonna publish these like fucking poetry one day.
Jingle means bone. So does hamster.
Yeah.
Okay, then they
This is when the movie shits the bed, like for real.
they end up in the pneumatic transit station with a river of slime going through it, and they try to do a depth sounding, see how deep it is for some reason.
Where the fuck is that slime going? Like out into the
Oh, that's a
ocean?
good question.
It's flowing at a
No,
pretty
they
rate.
say it's flowing toward the museum.
Yeah, but what does it do? Pool there? Where is it going?
Well,
It's just a lot of fucking
eventually
volume.
it comes up into a shell over it. But there does seem to be a lot more slime, especially because he's doing the depth sounding, and it
pops up through the cracks of the baby carriage too.
That's true.
Where
It's
is
just
it
everywhere.
coming from?
Yeah.
Where does
this?
it get the pressure
Up
to
in the
come
mountains?
street level?
What's the etiology of this slime?
All rivers start in the mountains.
Yeah, you know what? If I was a Ghostbuster, I would, instead of finding out where the slime was going, it would probably be a better idea to go upstream and find out where the hell it's coming from.
Yeah, and stop that.
It's not going to the museum where Vigo is, because it's going to the museum. They say that.
Yeah.
So where is it coming from? Is it coming from, like, Transylvania or wherever? Carpathia?
It flows all the way across continental Europe.
Yeah.
Right across the Atlantic, and then stops in New York City. Was it Metropolitan Museum of Art?
Nope. It's a fake. The Manhattan Museum of Art.
Oh.
It's
True.
not a real thing.
Oh, in the script that I'm going to get to, it's the Metropolitan Museum of
Well,
Art.
why not right now? Get to it.
No,
Get to
we're
the script.
going to tease that.
Oh, okay.
We're going to save the good stuff for later.
And then there's the best scene in the movie, Janine and dude.
Lewis?
Yeah,
Story?
Lewis. Rick Moranis. I feel like I should have used his character name, but I honestly didn't know it because he's annoying.
Whoa.
Wait, what?
Up until this point. And so
in this movie,
so they're
yeah.
babysitting. Yeah. So they're babysitting Oscar. And she's like,
That's the hamster means bone.
is it?
He tells a story about
I
his
had a hamster.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then they bone. Or I think they just make
And I
out.
put it in my butt. Yeah.
Could you find my hamster? I
At
think
one
I
point,
lost it in my butt.
At one point, she's trying to come onto him, and isn't she holding like a?
She has a crystal ball like a gypsy.
and she puts it like she like dangles it between her
yeah,
legs.
She
that's
puts
right.
it right in front
And-
of her clam.
Yeah, and I wrote, she literally has the balls in the relationship. She comes on to him, tells her what she wants, and then he babysits dad ass.
I think motherhood is a very natural instinct.
Yeah,
I
and
think
he's
this
the only
movie-
one that has it in that room.
I think this movie formed my entire romantic life for the rest of my days.
Whoops.
Although I will say Janine in the first movie would have nothing to do with Louis Tilly.
No.
Yeah,
She was totally a regular person, like no nonsense.
Yeah,
But then they
she-
had to make her like crazy looking like the cartoon.
Yeah,
Ghostbusters.
At Ghostbusters, what do you
Ghostbusters.
want?
Yeah, she was great in the first one.
You do? You have?
They'll be right over.
They'll be right over. And this is also so they're at Pete's apartment babysitting.
Pizza apartment.
Pizza apartment. they're at the pizza.
right,
the department. They're at the department of
Pizza
pizza.
apartment.
The New York Department of Pizza.
Yeah,
they got one.
and then so then Dana comes back, and they're babysitting each other's bodies in
They're
front
just
of
those
her.
bungholes.
Yeah, and like.
There's a little bit of a callback to the first movie there too, because he, Louis Tully, like gets up off the couch and he's looking around. Which is like an echo from the scene where he meets up with the gatekeeper.
When he first shows up after the Zool gets him.
Yeah, and he like sticks
And then
his
he's-
head up and he looks
yeah.
around. It's like I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt and say that was on purpose.
When
'cause it was a
when Louis gets blown, that's his face. That's his
Yeah.
hair.
and his hair's all messed up, and except now he's got weird 80s
I also
cool
wrote.
chick makeup all over his
It's
face.
at this point that I wrote, why does Janine want to fuck so bad? And is she trying to trap him with a baby?
I think so.
She does. She really wants the baby, and
I
she's
think-
got the crystal ball,
Oh my
and
God.
she's talking about
Well,
a baby.
he has a good motherhood instinct, so she can plop it out and drop it with him and just like visit on weekends.
Well, I mean, I was just wondering because
And they basically tell Dana like, "Oh, you can watch."
what did they say?
Oh, they're like, we'll stay
Yeah,
if you
Oh,
need
we
us to, and then they start
and they
making
just
out on the
start
couch again.
humping again.
yeah, they're like, oh, we shouldn't leave her alone. Not in this state.
Right, and then they just go at it. some more.
We fed him some French bread pizza.
Yeah. What did you eat, Louis?
Tuna fish sandwich.
Okay, so then Mary Poppins' pube hair comes back.
What?
Takes the baby away.
Yano's pube hair flies.
Oh, for Haunted Baby's Day Out. Yeah.
Yeah. So inexplicably, he becomes a ghost.
No, wait. Why? Wait. We have to acknowledge the haunted baby's day out. Because where the fuck?
Haunted baby's
Because
day out.
Dana goes in. Oscar's supposed to be in bed. Where is 9-month-old baby Oscar?
He just crawled out on side of the ledge of the building.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a callback to like, or not a callback.
It's like Baby's Day Out.
Yeah, it's like
a
Baby's
girder
Day Out.
should go by.
Yeah.
Joe
And he's-
Montana gets hit in the nuts at some point.
He's also standing like he's got a
I
stick up
fucking
his
hate
asshole.
Babies in movies. Yeah. They're the worst. Oh, like,
So what's
we need a plot contrivance.
so is there
Throw a 9-month-old at it.
Literally.
so is Oscar
Is he
being
haunted?
controlled at that point?
In the script that I'm going to talk about, yes, he is being controlled.
He gets possessed.
He's his and actually
but in this movie,
it's not
he just goes out on the ledge.
and you have a lot more experience with babies because you've had 2 of them. Are babies walking at 9 months old independently without any help?
They can be.
Can they jump out of a crib across like 4 feet and land on a window ledge and then walk out onto a ledge outside the building?
Well, you know what? I don't think that, with the wind and everything outside, like it would be some place that a baby would want to go.
My understanding is that they're
And if they wouldn't go on the ledge. If they went out the window, it would be like,
Plop.
Eric Clapton time.
oh nice.
He does.
There would be
That baby does not look wonderful tonight.
there would be tears in heaven. I know.
Oh. I really hope Eric Clapton's not listening to this at some point in the future.
Sorry, Eric Clapton.
Sorry. I love
that baby would know no one's name.
I love the stuff before he went solo. So I also noticed in that Pete has an NES. Because Lewis goes, "You want to play Mario Brothers?"
Oh yeah, well he would in '89.
Yeah, but
everyone had one in '89.
But he's a 40-year-old man. Why? And he has an.
Everyone had an NES.
Loser though.
I don't know. It's kind of weird. So yeah,
he's a scientist, so he's a nerd.
Yeah,
I guess.
He plays it cool, but you got to be a nerd to get a PhD, double PhD in psychology and parapsychology.
He doesn't know how to use any of the stuff. Like when he's in Dana's apartment where he's like,
oh yeah,
I think I'm using it right.
I think so.
Yeah, when he's using the breast pump.
Yeah.
So basically, he just coasted his way to a double PhD.
I wish I could do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ghost Pube Hair shows up, looking like Mary Poppins.
Mary Poppins Pube Hair.
And then this is where I start to get a little hazy because sometimes Ghost can go right through you, but Pube Hair picks him up and puts him in the basket.
Grows a big giant long arm.
Yeah, a big
and
gross
a giant
arm.
hand.
And picks up baby Oscar and
like
puts
he's
him...
Dave Grohl in that Foo Fighters video. He's going to slap Pat Smear.
Pap Smear?
Pap Smear.
Pap Smear.
That would be Pat Smear, the guitar player?
Yeah.
Whose name sounds a lot like Pap Smear.
Yeah. Pap Smear invented Pabst Blue Ribbon.
That's true. That's where Pabst Blue Ribbon comes from.
That's why it tastes like that.
Because he got a blue ribbon for his Pap Smears.
He was the best at them.
At the county fair.
Well, if you don't have insurance, that's where you're going to get them. But why does he?
Where Pat Smear's playing guitar.
Pat Smear at a county fair.
Yeah.
Why is he a Mary Poppins? Is that supposed to be a joke?
It's like a fuck you.
Who knows?
Well, it scared the shit.
Did they know Dana Barrett was going to be there to see it?
He's Vigo.
Yeah,
was it for the baby's benefit? Like maybe the baby.
He's terrifying. I don't think he's for the baby.
Right. So was it just like a fuck you to Dana?
I don't know.
Yeah,
did they know she was going to be there?
Because he tried to drop by earlier and be like, "Oh, this man's there." Yeah.
Oh, when he has the light eyes during the blackout, he has got the
after?
laser eyes.
Oh yeah,
that was freaky as hell.
That was cool. Maybe it's like a Green Lantern thing where
Also.
it's like where he made the whole get up rather than like the Green Lantern makes a giant fist. Like he could just make a giant object.
Wait, are we talking Hal Jordan? Or are we talking?
I'm talking Hal
Jon
Jordan.
Stewart.
I'm just talking Hal Jordan, right? So like
Guy Gardner.
So he needs a big blunt thing to hit somebody with. It's a giant fist. It could just be a big blob of whatever.
If his date's going well, it's a giant fist.
Yeah.
Giant fist.
Whoa.
Ooh.
Well, and I also had that. I mean, in the first movie, Lewis is. I mean, he's pretty wienery, but he's not. He's always coming on to Dana, and she's like, "Oh no, you gross! I'm Sigourney Weaver." And in this
hot for
movie,
you.
yeah, in this movie,
Sigourney Weaver is too hot for somebody in Ghostbusters. That's the 80s.
And in this movie, it's Janos Pubehead is like, "Oh, it's I want to be with you," and she's like, "Oh no!" Like, if
Yana is Peter McNichol here doing a Yana?
Yeah, I think he is. And so, like, if every guy you meet is really lame and you don't want to be with them, maybe you're seeing yourself in the mirror and you're a piece of shit, and these guys are too good for you.
It could be right.
Yeah, Dana should just stop being so stuck up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. She should chase her baby out off that ledge. And
well, she's waiting for? She's waiting for hot piece of man meat, Pete Venkman.
She's waiting for male pattern baldness.
Yeah,
5'7" Peter Venkman to come by.
Oh, he's taller than that.
Is he?
He's a big guy. He's like 6 feet tall.
Is he?
Yeah, he's like a good sized man, perfect sized man. For me,
I think it's just his giant head and male pattern baldness that throws me off.
So after that is when, because back when they went to the River of Slime, they fell in because they're derp faces. So then they get sucked.
But
into
Egon jumps in.
Egon jumps in to go help him up.
Which is ridiculous because Egon, being a scientist, would
he's
say,
like, I'm not
jumping in. That's ridiculous.
But they're his buds, They
are, but he would just go to where he thinks it's going.
His id took over, and it was just like he just had to jump in and save him.
Well, they go to the restaurant, which is officially the point where I think Bill Murray. It's like they did I know that they probably didn't film the movie chronologically, but it feels that way. It's that point where Bill Murray does not give a shit anymore. And the way his character is in that scene is just how Bill Murray is about the whole movie. He's like, what's fucking going on here? Oh, Jesus Christ.
And
I'm getting roped into this bullshit.
well, because
All you can eat night at the Sizzler. It's a very topical joke.
well, when they come out of the slime and they come out of the sewer grate, Winston and Ray are about to beat each other to death. But Egon's
the
just
fight I wanted to see.
well, Winston would fucking house him.
Yeah.
But Egon's just standing there like a normal Egon. He's like, "It's the clothes. Hey guys, it's the clothes."
Well, maybe
Egon's
Egon.
another-
get your slime off
Or maybe it's Egon that has the quiet.
Egon's Ray Romano.
Maybe it's Egon that has the quiet, always like bubbling rage right underneath the surface.
Yeah, maybe he's
so
always
the slime
angry.
doesn't even bother him.
I was thinking that like Egon's
It tones him down.
emotions are
He's-
like so low that him jacked up on slime is like just everybody, like a normal person.
Yeah.
Or maybe his internal rage, he was projecting onto them, making
Yeah.
the slime angry, making them even angrier.
He's still so angry about straightening out that slinky. That's his Thomas and Martha Wayne. That slinky.
That's the
His
in the
flashbacks,
Egon
yeah.
origin story. It always goes back to
Slow motion flashbacks of Straight and Slinky.
Yeah.
then everybody then busts in fucking. They're all wearing long johns,
Yeah.
which I
Wow,
thought was
that's weird.
it's weird. Like I didn't notice if they had butt flaps,
Yeah.
I don't think they had butt flaps.
but they do
Long
have the
Johns cover those long dongs. Yeah.
Oh,
just
Proton packing.
protein packs. They don't cross the streams. But so they just bust in on the fucking dinner like psychopaths. And they get fucking arrested.
yeah, that was kind of a missed
Rightfully so.
opportunity. They should have
I kind of
used.
forgot about that.
They just come in and they're flinging slime in people's faces like fucking animals.
The museum. There's splat.
A wide gesture, like we know where the fucking museum is, right? It's over there.
So there's a missed opportunity from the first one, and they could have just hit a note from the first one if it had been the same restaurant that Louis Tilly tried to get into.
Yeah.
Would have been cool.
Instead, Ray gives that woman a slime facial.
It's just
Oh, yeah, and they're
gets
up- and
right
they're-
in the eye.
So they can't get in, so they're up at the window banging on it. That would have been so much better.
It's like banging on the window, and then Peter has to come out.
It would have been. There was a lot. There's a lot of missed opportunities in this for like good callbacks. Instead of just what they did for callback was copy the exact. Like they did a Mad Libs of the first Ghostbusters, and they just plugged this in.
Well,
So-
up until about 3/4 of the way through, the third act is a complete mess.
Let's
Not to
see.
get too heavy.
Have we gotten to Eugene Levy yet?
What?
At like when the city's going crazy, at one point they like the camera pans over like a movie theater, and Eugene Levy's name is on the marquee.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And I don't know. I like that, so I wrote it down. I also like the living fur coat.
That's awesome.
It basically becomes a rat king and scurries away.
That was supposed to be in the first movie.
I loved it. See,
It's a great idea.
Yeah.
this is when they, the whole thing is terrible. Yeah, I get my notes are all out of whack
And
with what
then-
we've been doing, but
Yeah, and then I have Dead Tannic.
With Cheech.
Ben Stein. Cheech.
that's a good movie. If we could get the funding for it.
Titanic.
Dead Tannic.
Yeah.
Dead Tannic 2.
Yeah.
We're doing it.
Ben Stein shows up.
Yep.
We can't make a dent in it.
Then they have a meta message about being positive and friendly because New York's so angry and slime.
This is the part of the movie where even when I was 8 years old, I went,
Yeah, and at this point, I'm on my couch. I'm like, can you just fucking end?
yeah.
Like, if the movie just cut off here, I'd be okay. Like,
Well, I used to have a thing when I
the
was
day's ruined. Nice.
when I was a little kid. I would with the first movie, I would always fast forward to when they get the call for the hotel.
Yeah.
And then I would watch it from there. And in Ghostbusters 2, I would watch it up until the Statue of Liberty scene was starting to begin, and then I would turn it off.
Yeah, we're
'Cause
almost
even as 8 years old, I was like, this is pretty fucking.
we're
stupid.
almost there.
That's kind of what I have because they have like, oh, yeah, so they're talking about, I got to be positive and friendly. Like, out of nowhere, let's import some morality into this.
something
And
pure.
then what can get New Yorkers happy again? America, fuck yeah,
America.
But yeah, right when because this is when the Ghostbusters get released. You know, when they let them out of right before
The
they
loony
get
bin.
the loony bin, right before they get to the America fuck yeah part.
And you know they're right when Venkman is like he doesn't really belong.
No,
But he wasn't doing anything.
he wasn't doing. He was literally doing nothing. He was sitting
Right.
there like, "What are these people doing?" They just arrest him for no reason.
No reason.
And commit him to an insane asylum.
Kurt Fuller's a dick.
Completely illegally.
Well, and what I wrote was when they finally released them. That's when we get the 30-second time.
Oh, don't forget the Bobby Brown cameo.
Well, I guess we're going.
When he asks for a proton pack for his kid brother.
Is that Bobby Brown?
That's Bobby Brown.
That's why I wrote down high top fade.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, so now is the point where they play this song through the rest of the movie.
Just continuously,
the last
yeah.
25
We're gonna play it
minutes
through the
of
rest of
movie.
this episode, just
They
so you can get an idea.
They keep looping the chorus of having to take control.
So
They take control of the Statue of Liberty
They're
with,
going to charge us
with
now.
an NES advantage.
So at some point, because I just wrote down Stogie time. So before the end of the movie, like while they're walking Libby, are they just smoking cigars? I forget.
Wait, walking what?
The Statue of Liberty.
Sorry.
I think Bill
Yeah,
Murray
they have
even,
cigars.
Bill Murray
Yeah.
even calls her Libby at one point. Hey, Libby.
That's right.
Hey, got anything under those robes?
Now,
So they go from...
And they go inside the statue and they jizz everywhere. It's a cavernous vagina.
all inside.
they just
of the
cream
Statue of
pie the
Liberty.
Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
Nobody pulls out of the Statue of Liberty.
It's like, you got my seed now.
She
You
won't
got
let
to
you.
do what I tell you.
Nope.
She loves it.
Yeah.
It's because
but-
she's French.
Well, they always
Yeah.
they always make it look like the Statue of Liberty is like 1,000,000 feet tall, and actually it's like the statue itself is like 100
It's
feet
the
tall.
pedestal that's really...
Yeah.
And the pedestal's like the statue's. I think the statue's 100 and the pedestal's like 150 or something like that.
Yeah,
It's
so
like
if they had walked off the pedestal in the Statue of Liberty, it would have just hit the
how'd they get it down?
hit the island and disintegrated.
At the end of the movie, they show they go around the Statue of Liberty, which is back up somehow.
Yeah.
After
Well,
it
they just
fucking falls over.
chopper
Yeah.
lifted
They just
over
walked
there.
her back.
And then someone got down on their hands and knees, and she stepped on their back to get back up on top of the fucking pedestal.
Yeah.
But I don't. How did it get across the fucking Hudson River?
Did we ever look up how deep the
I
Hudson
did look
is?
up how deep it is.
How deep is the Hudson River?
Well, there's apparently depends on where we're
How
talking
poor are they?
about. Well, in some of the shipping lanes, it's only 20 feet deep, but it can get as deep as 200 feet, which is much
Do we
deeper.
know how deep it is around Liberty Island?
I couldn't figure that out. I didn't look up the fucking.
Get your fucking atlas out.
I didn't get an aquatic atlas out. Sorry.
All we need is some marine charts that we can see.
at one point, it's like
we've been over the Statue of Liberty is not that tall. It's like a fully loaded Dodge Ram, like standing up lengthwise.
Right, so it's shorter than most buildings in Manhattan.
yeah.
But then, so at one point, they're not that far away from Liberty Island, and the water is about like a millimeter from going inside of the crown.
Yeah,
It's right there.
If the planet just backfired and they drowned,
Drowned.
Yeah, movie over.
it would have been a really
They
great.
just play
that would've
Bobby
been
Brown for the next 20 minutes.
So what was the idea with the? So he has the controller.
He
which
has
is an
gamepad?
NES
I did write down
NES
Nintendo
the-
remote.
So did I. Oh, and he has gamepad.
It's,
Sure.
They should've
it's
used a
technically
Power Glove.
an NES Advantage.
It's so bad.
I had one of these things when I was
Yeah.
a kid, which made this scene even more awesome. Although I didn't actually like it, but the cool thing about it was that I had one of these NES Advantages. But if you think about it, really, you'd want at least dual analog sticks, not just the one.
Well, so
What
they
do the
have
buttons do?
they have an
Does she
eight.
jump?
One makes her swing her arm down so she can shatter the thing, and the
Yeah.
other one makes her jump. Yeah,
You know, actually, the
That's actually
NES Ghostbusters 2 game.
it makes her shoot
That's
fireballs.
actually what
Yeah.
the buttons did was to move the arm around and shoot fireballs up.
like Super Mario.
Because at the end of the game, you had to go across the river and shoot
Of course
things
you
out of
did.
the sky.
Yeah.
Why aren't people scared that the Statue of Liberty's walking down the street?
Yeah, I wouldn't have positive feelings.
They're like,
that
yay!
point.
And they're swaying and they're singing Give Peace a Chance or Old Lang Syne or whatever.
What? No, they're singing.
And-
it's a weird remix.
They're not singing.
Of-
"Huh." No, that's what the song is.
Higher
It's
and
a
Higher.
about your love. Keep on lifting.
Not Jackie Wilson at that point.
I thought
No.
they were
What-
singing.
It's a weird remix.
And when she's walking down the street, Libby's just strutting, mean mugging everybody. She's got a really mean face going on.
She
She's
does
French.
have a resting bitch face.
She is
Yeah.
French.
Definitely.
Well, it's because they should have patted her feet, but they don't make Nikes that big.
Oh.
So Lewis is
That is a good point. That was the audience. That was another incidence of the audience speaking. Like, oh, I hope she doesn't shake apart. Like, yeah, she's gonna fucking shake apart. It's a fucking statue, you idiot.
Shake it off.
And then the dress was like flexible all of a sudden.
Yeah, it,
Yeah.
like it
The
moved
toga
like a,
or whatever
yeah,
the fuck
it-
Statue of
her
Liberty
toga
was.
like sways.
Yeah.
Lewis suits up as a Ghostbuster.
Oh, this is the biggest. This is the most
This is
useless
the biggest
scene
middle finger to the audience.
in
Let
the
me-
entire movie.
Well, let me tell you this, and this is again.
I know that there's probably something in the script, but the way it comes across in the final cut is that they were padding for time.
I'm gonna get to the script at some point in the near future.
I know you
I don't
are.
even.
I'm gonna get to it. But
No, nobody wants it.
I'm
but
going
he's
to, guys.
get to it.
Yeah.
It's happening. Just lay back and take it.
So
the script in your
she-
pudding.
Janine puts him in the
I'm gonna-
Egon's, the tallest Ghostbuster.
I'm gonna give you some of that script. Whether you want it or not.
And what do they have an extra? Oh, never mind. I just answered my own question. They'll have extra proton packs because 2 of them are wearing slime packs.
Just
Yep.
yeah.
But
Just packs.
no, the thing is that Lewis
It's Nickelodeon's Truth or Dare.
And there's no precedent for him wanting to be a Ghostbuster.
No, but he
It's
wants
not
to be a
mentioned
Ghostbuster.
earlier.
that's because it
It's
got
probably
caught.
mentioned earlier at a cut bookshop scene.
Yep.
Everybody
And-
wants to be a Ghostbuster.
Yeah, I get
You
that.
were born
No,
to wear
yeah.
this.
But he never sets it up. He never says anything. And I don't care if it's in this like a script that got cut. Like the intention is meaningless when it's not conveyed.
No, I understand. I agree with you. I'm just letting you know. That's where it comes from.
There
And
is
also,
a reason.
Why the fuck is Slimer driving that bus?
Because the audiences love him. Got to bring back that Slimer.
He hands him. He hands
That's it.
Lewis. He hands Lewis an ecto cooler for his driver's
Yeah.
ride over and some orange wedges.
And then he just kick flips
Lewis
and like
gets
skateboards
on the
away.
bus. So the weirdest part is not that Slimer is driving the bus, because the ghosts like terrorize the city. But the weird part is that Lewis gets to where he's going after he gets on the Slimer bus.
Yeah, Slimer takes it to help him out.
following the bus schedule and doing all the
I mean,
stops.
like, Slimer's such a good. I feel like he
stops right in the.
I feel like he does it to be
stops
nice.
it picks up Lewis.
Yeah.
So that, and he was at a bus stop. So Slimer is just doing a bus driver's job. That's weird.
It is kind of weird.
I want Slimer, if he's driving the bus, I wanted him loading it up with co-eds like going down to spring break.
Oh, yeah.
He's a dirty old man.
Slimer
Yeah.
should be just like cruising down the wrong lane of the highway,
eating hot dogs.
100 miles an hour, just loaded up with like
Actual Frankfurt.
Thanksgiving cornucopias,
Yeah.
giant sandwiches like in the cartoon.
Chris, what's our time
A
right now?
Dagwood.
We are at about 1 hour and 40 minutes.
So let's take a quick break for the pee break. We'll come back. We'll
Okay.
wrap it up.
All right, you've been listening to,
Less than or sequel to.
and we'll be
The
right
movie.
Hey, welcome back. We were just talking about Honey, I Blew Up the Kids.
I thought it was a much different movie than when I first saw
But
it.
it's a misleading title.
I thought I was going to see a lot more gore and action in that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, real letdown.
It
Honey,
was-
Honey, I Murdered the Children.
That would have been so he blows him up. And then for the next 2 hours, it's just him and his wife on a shopping spree because
Extra money?
Yeah.
Wait, they have
like-
life insurance on their
No,
children?
The
No, they
disposable
just-
income they have now.
They cash in those college
yeah.
funds. Yeah. Like, you know what? Let's go on this cruise we've been talking about.
And they're
This
just
is so much better since
Yeah.
you blew up the
yeah, they
kids.
could call back to the first one while they're burying them in the yard. They could have super close-ups of ants and stuff.
Well, he shoots him with the laser because remember it blows the apple up in the
Right,
first
he's
one.
kind of a harebrained scientist, so I mean, it would, it could
That's
just
not my
be-
boy.
Well, and then
They get
he,
shrunk by the accident, so who's to say that an accident couldn't just explode and kill the children?
yeah, so the children blow up, are exploded, But then he makes a ray to
Like
enlarge ants, so the ants eat their carcasses and hides the evidence.
Now, remember in the first one when he's trying to perfect the shrink ray and he blows up the apples.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
you hear the title of the second one, you think, well, okay, well, he tries it again and
blew up our child.
he vaporizes his kids.
Yeah.
Just gore in the attic, just everywhere. So then I see like the wife comes in. He's trying to like clean it up and hide it from the wife.
You get like some briny paper towels.
Yeah, so he's downstairs.
Honey,
The
I
wife
saved
comes
up some
home.
money.
The wife comes home early from work, and he goes down. And he's like, "Oh no, what am I going to do?" So the whole movie is he's trying to hide the fact that he murdered the
So
children.
it's
from
a
his wife.
it's a madcap romp.
Oh yeah,
It's like Weekend at Bernie's.
exactly. So then he has to pretend to be the kids. He's like, "Oh, the kids went over to sleep over at the."
Or he'll do voices.
And the
like
cops come.
He learns to throw his voice.
He does the kid's voice.
I want Captain Crunch.
He's like, oh, they got the flu, and he does like a Ferris Bueller setup. to
Yeah,
make them
don't
out.
go in there.
Yeah.
He just stuffs some pillows under the blankets and stuff.
So, yeah, Ghostbusters
The
2.
kids have been blowing chunks all day.
Oh. And she finally finds out at the end and faints. She wakes up and is like, "Oh, I dreamt that you murdered our
He
children."
creates fake tests for them, and like one of them gets an F. It's like, yeah, she's been studying real hard. She just fell to pieces.
Ooh. Well, thank you for the setup first. That was
Just
helpful.
jam it home.
And when it finally ends, like the wife doesn't even really care that much. She's just like, "Oh, Rick, wah, wah."
It's the most important thing is that we love each other.
Yeah. We can make more.
So we're getting to the end of Ghostbusters 2. Let's wrap this bitch up because I think we're approaching. We're already past the length of this movie. I think in terms of how long this podcast
yes,
is going.
certainly.
Oh, and like all of a sudden it's New Year's.
Yeah. Well,
Oh yeah.
So what time period is this movie covering? 'Cause
where's Christmas?
that's what I wrote. I was like, I thought we would have seen some
Yeah. Where's
green
the
and
snow?
red.
Does the kid get any
Or
presents?
It's New York, like a leftover Star of David somewhere. I don't know.
Okay. Or snow.
There's a
it's
lot
New
of
York
the
City.
Jewish
There
faith
should be
there.
snow.
It is. Actually, I saw a map recently that had the most unique cuisine to a state.
Mm-hmm.
Kosher is the most unique for
Yep.
New York. Because where else would you find that much kosher?
You know what?
Israel.
My friend posted
In
that.
the United States. The continental.
yeah.
We're not talking about Alaska, Hawaii, just continental United States.
Certain
And-
communities in Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Arizona.
My friend is from Colorado, and he posted that map as well, and he was very disappointed with his own state. I also
What
used
was
to live in
theirs?
Colorado.
Just edibles,
So around Colorado
Snow cones.
brownies.
is steak. So most of the Midwest there is like Nebraska.
That's in the
Montana.
Midwest. Yep.
That's all steak. So those are, and Arizona is Mexican. Colorado is gluten free.
Yeah.
You know what? The weirdest thing is that Utah is Hawaiian.
Yeah.
Oh.
What the fuck is Hawaiian food?
Wait,
Just
so
like
Hawaiian-
fucking pineapples?
Hawaiian wasn't it wasn't the
Spam.
most unique
It's
to
spam.
Hawaiian? Spam and pineapple?
Yeah.
No, Hawaii didn't get Hawaiian.
Well, shouldn't that be the most unique to that state though? How many fucking how much Hawaiian food is Utah
Maine
eating?
got seafood.
Maine
I'm like,
got
yeah, that
seafood,
sounds
yeah.
right.
Yeah. That's what we do. That's what we got.
Yeah.
But apparently Colorado's full of a bunch of assholes because it's gluten free. So
yeah.
We didn't get shitty
What was-
potatoes.
yeah. What state had like poverty venison?
Michigan.
Yeah.
So the
judging by when I lived in Colorado, I think
God
that
damn it.
the number one should be just
Asshole.
Chipotle.
I can get on board with
Everyone
that.
just eats Chipotle.
Oh my god, I want some Chipotle right now. I just want to wet my whistle with it. That's not what you do with your whistle. That's when you take a drink. Well, like wet my appetite, not my whistle.
Chipotle might like wet your underwear.
I just want to take that. I just want to take that Chipotle and put it in a blender, and just drink it right down like a shake.
So
refreshing.
this movie's basically dead now. Like we've finished it out.
Oh, it's gone.
No, I-
It's New Year's. There's a creepy baby face.
Oh, let's not forget the Ray.
the R&B singer Babyface.
I just wrote down creepy baby face.
Are you talking about the Ray
No, that's when the
transformation?
when the Vigo face gets superimposed
Oh,
over
yeah.
the baby
Yeah.
face.
really poorly.
And then he pulls like the baby out and he goes, "Oh!"
And then Ray gets gets possessed again. We forgot to talk about how Ray got a little bit possessed.
He got a little possessed earlier on when Venkman's having the photography,
Yeah.
and then he gets like I guess he plants a little seed.
Well, then they had
Little
this
embryo.
the scene that got cut, that they put into a montage, a little bit into a montage when they're driving the Ecto-1. And the Ecto-1 is like knocking over trash cans or whatever. And then like Venkman looks at Ray like he's a crazy person. And then that's it. Like the scene cuts off. They just stuck into a montage, but apparently he got like sort of possessed by Vigo at that point, which would have been a callback to what happens at the end when he gets completely possessed by Vigo.
Yeah, well,
But then he gets slimed and proton packed. Like they blast him with the proton. They blast
He was
Ray
asking for
No,
it.
with
they
a
don't-
proton pack.
they don't blast Ray. Well, they blast Vigo in the painting with the proton packs. They don't blast Ray with the proton.
Oh,
no.
they just slime him.
They slime the shit
Yeah.
out of him.
And-
And-
oh, like they
and
do with
positive,
Janosch.
Yeah, and with Janosch Pubhead.
I said,
and
what?
then,
Why did they jizz blast Janosch? Why not just knock him out? Like he's 130 pounds. Just punch him in the face.
Punch him.
Yeah.
Just
And
have
then-
Winston punch him out.
That's why they brought Winston along. Just
and then
knock dudes
when they
out.
wake up from their goo bath, Janosch and Ray have kind of like a meet cute. Like they hit it off.
They do. They hug.
They
and-
Yeah.
almost fuck right there.
Yeah.
Yep. They do. They profess their love for each other, and then they make out.
I said, I wish Viggo Mortensen was Prince Vigo.
Oh, that would be good.
Yeah.
I thought they could have
Would've
done a
been
little better
apt.
with the casting. Then they wouldn't have had to pay Max von Sydow to do the overdub.
Viggo Mortensen could just play himself.
They
Yeah.
carved heart like a lady.
They're swarming with orcs.
So then the painting changes.
Yeah,
They
okay.
defeat it, and
No, don't gloss over that.
I'm not glossing over. Trust me.
It's
I
just
was
not
saying
worth talking
that is a
about.
transition to talking about
All
it.
right, because we just spent a couple of minutes on the fucking
okay.
on that painting dough.
So
is what
they do a little bit of the
Nice.
of teasing the audience with the script at that point, which is an annoying thing that movies do. But so they're looking at the painting and we don't see the painting, and they're talking. So for some reason they don't notice either they're making incredibly sarcastic jokes to each other, or they don't notice the fact that they are in the painting in togas
I think it's one of the
around the baby
fettuccinis.
Oscar. Yeah. And then that is just it's a geyser of fucking awful jokes. Like right there,
Yeah.
they're like, it's a joke a
It's like-
second and they're all fucking terrible.
It's like Tub Girl. That's what it is. It's guys are shit.
Except grosser. Yeah.
And then
It's harder
just,
to watch than Tub Girl.
It is.
And you go, oh, what's going on? And then they finally reveal the painting and you just projectile vomit all over your
It's yeah. Because
all
I
over
think
yourself.
I wasn't listening to when you're talking, but the painting is the four of them in togas with the baby in the middle.
Yes, they're protectively around the baby. It's the four of them. Dana Barrett is not in it. The
Nope.
mother of the
I'm
child is not
surprised
in there.
Winston was in it.
Winston is in it, which is weird.
Hey, left you out of most of the movie. Put you in
Right.
the painting, though.
Right, because he's the help. So
Oh
Hey, we've discussed before. This is a colorblind
no,
podcast.
no! I think what Chris is trying to say is
I'm
that
just saying he's the
Winston
Oh.
Winston does help several
He
times
helps.
in this movie.
I thought you had him confused
No,
with
no,
Viola
no.
Davis.
Winston is very helpful.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm just saying that maybe he could have been played by Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah.
So what? He was actually. It's not Lawrence Fishburne in this.
I don't think this is
The Bernie Mac.
no.
It was,
So yeah, they what? Where does that painting come from though? Like
From the slime
who's grateful enough for the Ghostbusters doing what they did to make that painting stay?
When I was a little kid, which I know it doesn't make any sense, but I thought that was maybe the painting that was there originally, and somebody painted over it. And
yeah, that makes no sense.
no, it doesn't. When I was 8 years
so they
old,
blasted a layer of paint off of it.
when I was 8 years old, and I was sort of like a Ghostbusters 2 apologist when I was 8 years old. That's sort of
Me too.
That's how I put it together. I was
got
like,
some
oh, that was
really
probably
good
just under
bits,
there.
Dad.
It's a great movie. Yeah. and- I mean, maybe I could have been a jaded 8-year-old because I had been watching Ghostbusters 1 from the time that it had come out on video because I remember my parents got it for me. So I was probably 5 years old when I first started watching Ghostbusters, like every day.
Is
And
Is this why you're such a ruined adult? Because your childhood was filled with Ghostbusters too?
Yeah, I
So
am.
you're angry and
I am
contrary to everything?
I can't be offended by it. There are certain things. The only things that can really affect me now in movies is like when like a little kid gets messed up or something.
Yeah.
'Cause-
Or what about like a pet, like a dog?
yeah, or pets. Like
Because adults die and I don't care.
right. Like now, anything could happen. Like the worst gore and anything. Because my parents just let me watch like whatever I wanted
Nice.
all the time when I
We
was
had
a little kid.
T2 on VHS. I wore that one out.
Yeah, I had T2. We had Porky's.
What is that? Doesn't it have a glory hole in it?
Yeah, it does. So I watched all kinds of like really raunchy, like R-rated stuff when I was a kid, and then so now I think it's actually a little bit better because now things in movies really only upset me when they really are like applicable to my real life. So like little kids getting hurt or something.
Like Pet Cemetery's kind of off the table.
Pet Cemetery.
Watching that kid, because you have a
The
kid. who's-
Babadook really.
Oh, I haven't seen
really
that.
disturbed me.
Is it good?
It is really good.
Oh my god, I want to see.
But
So
yeah,
how old is your oldest?
my oldest is 5 years old.
Would you let him watch
No.
Porky's?
No, it's weird. I don't know what the hell's wrong with my parents, but
It was a different time because
I just don't like. I wouldn't let my kid like. I let him watch. We
you're a
watched the Ninja
helicopter
Turtles
parent.
movies. I'm not really a helicopter parent. Like I let him do his own
You're
thing.
a tiger
but
mom.
as far as the stuff I let him watch, like my parents, there was no such thing as screen time when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
So it was like.
Well, there were just less screens in the world, too.
Yeah,
one.
but I would come home from school and it would be like 8 hours of screen time when I
Yeah.
go to sleep.
That's again, it's just like a different time.
Just
So
how it was, yeah.
I go home and it would either be TV or I'd pop in VHS tapes.
Yeah.
So, but so I guess the verdict is Ghostbusters 2, is it less than or is it sequel to? I'm gonna say it's close to sequel to, but it ultimately is less than.
You know what? I'm going to say that it is both. I think it is sequel to in that
For the first 30 minutes.
I can consider it canon and not
I was yawning, yeah.
I consider it a continuation of the first movie. I don't think it ruins the first movie at all.
No, it's just it's like a watery, like a pissed down version of it.
It's like a high school reunion, you know? It's like quite the same. Quite the same thing. It's like these dudes have gotten older and their jokes are lame.
the music's more lame.
Music's more lame. It's just like what happens when somebody gets 5 years older.
Yeah.
Their music gets
Yeah, it
lame
sucks.
and their jokes get lamer.
But
So
what do you
yeah,
think?
I'd say it's sequel
I would
two.
give it a watch, but you're gonna hate watch the last half of it.
yeah.
if you can just watch the first act.
Yeah, if you're not a
It's good.
completist, give it the first
Yeah.
15 minutes.
Just turn it off.
Once the court scene's done, just turn
Yeah,
it off.
Go up to the Scoleri brothers and then turn it off.
I will, and so I'm gonna. I think we're gonna. I think we pretty much talked about Ghostbusters 2 as much as we can. So I think we're pretty much done for this one, right?
Yes.
Y'all feel good?
Yep.
Well-
Join us next time for The Matrix Reloaded,
Yep.
And-
And special two-part, a two-hander.
The Matrix
Matrix
Revolution.
Pair of matrices.
I'm gonna